They don't think about people twice. They don't seem to understand that I just ain't been made a fool. I ain't learned about money from their old-fashioned school. I've got to tell you, I wanna make it all right. You know that's what I'm here for. I wanna make it all right. My song. I just woke up this morning, but you'll be sleeping when I'm gone. I'm gonna sing one for the lonely, so they can hear it too. Something to make you happy, baby. That's what I'm here to do. Let me hear you say, I wanna make it all right.
Who's that? Oh, never mind. Who's that? Who is it? What's going on?
No. Make it all right.
What a dick. Hey, Jonesy, rock it, man.
Make it all right.
I think it's just gone politically correct.
New normal.
Well, pussy.
Sex bomb.
You are sleeping. You do not want to believe. You are sleeping. You do not want to believe. You are sleeping. You do not want to believe. You are sleeping. You do not want to believe. You are sleeping. You do not want to believe. You are sleeping. You do not want to believe. You are sleeping. You do not want to believe. You are sleeping. You do not want to believe.
I've just seen your face, I can't forget the time or place where we just met. She's just a girl for me, and I want all the world to see we've met. Ah, da, da. Had it been another day, I might have looked the other way, and I'd have never been aware. But as it is, I dream of her tonight. Ah, da, da. Falling, yes, I'm falling, and she keeps calling me back again. Falling, yes, I'm falling, and she keeps calling me back again. I have never known the like of this. I've been alone and I have missed things and kept out of sight. For other girls were never quite like this. Ah, da, da. Falling, yes, I'm falling, and she keeps calling me back again. Falling, yes, I'm falling, and she keeps calling me back again. Falling, yes, I'm falling, and she keeps calling me back again.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road. It's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Nearly there, guys. We're very nearly there. Sorry, very windy. I do apologise.
Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold. A brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll find what I call home. Until tomorrow, you know I'm free to roam.
You are sleeping. You do not want to believe. You
Oh, man.
are sleeping.
Wake up.
You do not want
Wake
to
up.
believe. You are sleeping.
Wake up.
You do not want to believe.
Wake up.
You are sleeping. You do not
Wake up.
want to believe. You are sleeping.
Wake up.
You do not want to believe. You
Wake
are
up.
sleeping. You do not want to believe. You
Wake
are
up.
sleeping. You do not want to believe. You
Wake
are
up.
sleeping. You do not want to believe.
Yes, I'm awake.
We're awake. 0203 286 6370. I find myself in a position of a real dilemma. And the dilemma is this. Welcome to the show, by the way. My name is Ian Lee. This is the only radio show on Twitch. Flash! Ah! He'll save every one of us. It's the beat to Flash. You can't knock it. 0203 286 6370. Why do I have to tell you the number is... That screen's too busy, right? That screen is... I'm looking at the screen. That is a busy, busy screen. Let's make it less busy. Goodbye. You're going down there. You're gone. That's one thing that's gone. Let's get rid of this. You're gone. It's still, to me, too busy. Oh, that didn't do anything. Bear with me, caller. How about that? How about that? That's fine. Now we've got a screen. If you're listening to the podcast of this, the screen is blank, apart from a little trawl, a little ticker tape line at the bottom with the email, latenightalternative@gmail.com, the telephone number 0203 286 6370, and the Skype details, TLNA. Haven't even put up the link for Patreon or donations. My mods can do that in the chat. My name is Ian Lee. I used to be on the radio and now I pretend I am. And I find myself in a real dilemma tonight because, you know, I like cats, okay? I've got 5 cats. I had 5 and then Velvet died and now I've got 5 again because I've got Big Boy. So the cats are Mucky and Lucky, sisters, George and Patty, brother and sister, and Big Boy, who was a stray, who now lives with me and he's like a dog. And that he follows me everywhere. He kind of bullies Patty a bit, and it means Patty doesn't sleep on my bed. And Patty used to come and cuddle me on the bed, used to come and sleep in the crook of my arm while I was asleep. She doesn't do that anymore. Okay. Big Boy can be quite annoying. There is a 6th cat that some of you will know about. I see Emsy's in the chat. And my relationship with the 6th cat kicked off just before I started playing Among Us in Emsy's chat. Hello, Emsy. I'd seen this cat before, a big black and white cat that looks a lot like Big Boy. Looks a lot like Big Boy. And he, I called a Bigger Boy, would come and sit at the back of the kitchen late at night, about 11:30 at night, and I'd never heard anything. And then Big Boy would communicate in this same low, pained noise. I'd never heard anything like it. By the way, you can call even when I'm talking. I will take your call and shove it up your ass. No, I will take your call and shove it up your ass. I will take your call in the order that they come, and if I miss it, I'll shove it up. I will call you back. 0203 286 6370. And if we spoke earlier on, this counts as a brand new show. That's right, the £6.66 and above patrons are going to get 3 podcasts tonight. 3. They're getting this radio show. They're getting Chapter 2, Part 1 of the Isley Tilsley autobiography, Ivy Tilsley, and they're also getting me doing the ironing, which is better than it sounds. Anyway, so there's this other cat called Bigger Boy, who so I'd seen them a few times. I then think it might be a pregnant girl. Right? This is a big cat. Big. So I think Bigger Boy might actually be a pregnant girl. Anyway, the night in question, when I was playing Among Us with Emsy, with Catherine, and with some of Emsy's very, very, very nice supporters, and some that were a little bit uptight, I'll be honest. The story is to be continued. We have a call. Hello, Sloop.
Howdy, Mr. Lee. Happy Father's Day.
I'm not your father.
Oh, really?
Luke. Yep.
She was lying to me. Listen, Ian.
Yes.
I've got something I want to ask you about, right?
Okay.
I saw a film for the first time yesterday.
You've never seen a film before yesterday?
I saw a film for the first time yesterday, but
Wow.
the soundtrack blew me away.
Yes,
right?
mate.
Have you seen the film Easy Rider?
Yeah, the soundtrack's much better than the film.
Yeah, well, my other half didn't like the film. She said it's just a lot of driving around, but we had the sound up, you know?
Yeah,
and
it's not a
soundtrack's
great
killer.
movie. The soundtrack's awesome. Isn't it like the Birds and is Hendrix on there? I can't remember, but it's
Chicks was 9. It's got a funny song. One of them, some dude singing in a weird voice about a bird or something. But it was just.
Could you wait there 1 second, Sloop? I just have to check something in the back garden. Whoa. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm back, and I'm listening, but I may have something is happening in the back garden that I may have to go and tend to. But I can. Let's talk Easy Rider.
Yeah, no, I thought the film was fantastic, isn't it? It's supposed to be that they're sort of outsiders, aren't they? And they're sort of not accepted.
Yeah.
That's my thought. But I liked it. I thought it was very scenic. But what I want to ask you about, right?
Yes, sir.
What films have you seen that have got good soundtracks? Because the only ones I've seen was like The Graduate.
A Hard Day's Night by the Beatles.
Well, yeah, that's obvious. I still got the
Let It Be by the Beatles. Oh man, there's going to be a 6-hour Let It Be Get Back documentary. 6 hours.
For 6 hours. I mean,
what?
It can't be that much good footage, surely.
Mate, there's like 100 hours of footage was shot. Yes, they can get 6 hours out of it. I'm disappointed. It's not 3 times that. They shot 100 hours of footage.
There was a lot, but we've all seen George and Paul arguing, haven't we? That's absolutely...
Yeah, but we haven't seen the context of that. Look, I'll play anything you want me to play. If you want me to play, I'll play it. If you don't want me to play, I won't play it. I'm not saying that, George. What I'm saying is, but we haven't seen the context of the argument. Let It Be is viewed as being like miserable, and it is a miserable film. It's a hard watch. But apparently, those who have listened to all of the tapes, and I'm referring to Mr. Mark Lewis, and say, actually... It's quite. They were having a laugh. They were in transition, but they were having a laugh. I want those 6 hours.
They themselves said it wasn't particularly, if I remember correctly, wasn't particularly it wasn't a fun experience being in that big cold studio. But
when George Harrison was interviewed and asked about Within You, Without You, he didn't know what album that song was on. That song was on the album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. He'd written it. He didn't. 20 years later, he didn't remember what album Within You, Without You is on. Those lot don't remember anything about it. Do you remember what you were doing 20, 30, 40 years ago? No, but it's us. It's us.
We all remember it.
The thing is, we deconstruct the Beatles' life more than they will ever do. If Harrison doesn't remember what songs his albums were on, how are they going to remember the Let It Be sessions?
Well, they won't. But you know what? I'll give you a theory on something that I've picked up from reading all those Beatles books. Right?
Yes.
Do you think McCartney was getting a bit too big for his boots towards the end? Because I think they felt he was trying to take over a little bit.
Well, you've said two different things. I think that they may have felt that he was trying to take over. Too big for his boots? No, he kept the Beatles going. He was the one that I love McCartney. I cannot have a bad word said against him. He kept the Beatles going when everybody else was bored of it and didn't want to do it anymore, whether it was together or individually. He was the one that wanted to be in the band and keep it going.
But because my understanding was Lennon was really unofficially the leader for a long time, and then he kind of down tools and couldn't be asked.
He started taking heroin. You know, what are you going to do with someone who's on heroin?
Well, you can't do much, can you?
No. He started the band in whenever the Quarrymen were, 57, 58, whenever that was. Yeah, he started the band. But Paul McCartney was driving the band for ages. The last 2.5 years, he was driving it.
Yeah, there's that famous quote. It was either George or Ringo who said that Paul would call them up on their days off. Do you remember that? It was on a documentary. And he said we'd be in the back garden enjoying ourselves, and the phone would go, and they'd be like, "Oh no, it's Paul. He wants us to go back to the studio again."
Yeah, go back to work. You know, because he wanted to be in a band more. He loved. Here's the thing people don't get about McCartney. He loved the Beatles. They think that everyone thinks that Paul McCartney split up the Beatles. He didn't. He kept the Beatles going for probably another 18 months, 2 years longer than if anybody else had been in charge, they would have gone on for. He loved the Beatles.
But they did split up at the right time, I think. I think that's what makes them so brilliant.
Possibly.
Everyone said they were sad, but it was the right time. Maybe I'm wrong in thinking that.
They always split up then, they never split up then.
I mean, I tell you what I've been getting into recently as well is I always loved the later stuff. I mean, I loved all the Beatles stuff, but I always loved the later stuff. I've gotten really into the early stuff now. You know, all those kind of like really quick songs. And I don't know, maybe I ignored all that stuff. I mean, I've got loads of books on them and stuff like that, you know. But, I've really gotten into the old stuff. I'll watch the Let It Be thing. Have you got any recommendations for any good films with good soundtracks or good things that I can go down a route of? Because I'm sure you must have a few of that.
Good films with good... Oh, OK, the greatest soundtrack of all time.
Go on. You're going to say Dirty Dancing.
I'll get lost. Convoy.
Convoy?
Convoy. Sam Peckinpah, Chris Christopherson, Ali McGraw. It's a masterpiece. Help me unwrap the present.
Is it a druggy film? I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way.
Do you want drugs? No, it's not a druggy film. It's a trucking film, and it's brilliant, and it's the best soundtrack of all time.
Right.
You asked for me. You asked, and you didn't agree. You didn't like the answer you got.
I'm also trying to make sure that you and me are all right after our pandemic fallout. I admit I was wrong. Okay, and you have got humbleness here, Ian. Okay. Hello. And then there's just an uncomfortable silence. Mr. Lee, are you still there, sir? Mr. Lee.
Yeah, I went out the back garden. I've gone now. So here's the dilemma I find myself in. So the night that we played Among Us with Emsy, I went out to see Bigger Boy. Thank you for the call, by the way. I went out to see Bigger Boy, who was in the back garden, and I managed to stroke him or her. And it was magic. And then she turned and walked away, and I stroked her again from behind. Hang on a second. Oh, we missed that phone call. Val, I'm going to call you back. I'm calling you straight back because I'm looking at the back door as I talk. Multitasking.
078.
Whoa. Let's try Val. Let's try Val again. There we go.
Voicemail service for...
Okay, she's gone. Val, you can call in if you want. I went to stroke her from behind. That was a big mistake because she turned... Hello, Val.
Hiya. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much, Val. And I am your father, so that's perfectly acceptable for you to say that.
Are you okay?
I've had a great day. I've eaten too much food. I've got indigestion. I'm enjoying doing this. There is something happening in my back garden right now as we speak. And I'm looking forward to going to bed and getting up early. I'm going into London town tomorrow for the first time in about 18 months.
Good God, what's happening there?
There's an anti-lockdown protest, and I'm going along to it.
Good on you.
No, I'm not supporting them. No, I'm not supporting them. It's to see I want to find out what they're doing there, and I want to find out what's going on for them.
Well, I just sort of phone you up and wish you happy Father's Day.
Thank you, Val. Have a lovely evening. I just missed a phone call, and I will call them back. Gingerbread Mark is in the chat as we speak right now, and we're going...
It's temporarily locked. Please call again later.
Okay, fine. That's fair enough. So I stroked Bigger Boy from behind, and she turned and she bit me twice in the hand and clawed me twice in the arm. Okay? And Catherine says, Val, Ian's eldest daughter there. And it really hurt. It really hurt in an unusual way. But I carried on playing Among Us with MC. It was great. But it felt odd, and I washed it and all of that. And then I went to bed about 1:30, 2 in the morning. This was about 11:30 that it happened. And I woke up at 6 and my hand was killing me. I had a dream that I had the AstraZeneca vaccine in my hand, and it was really painful. And I woke up, my hand was killing me, and it was swollen. And at 6, I thought, geez, I gotta go to the to the hospital. And I went to the hospital, my hand ballooned up, and they basically said, if you'd have come in a day later, you might have lost your hand. And they had to dig open each wound. It numbed my hand and dug open each wound and then cleaned it out and gave me a load of antibiotics. 2 or 3 days later, it was still swollen. It was getting bigger. So they had to do the same thing again. It's horrible. Anyway, since then, not seen much of Bigger Boy. Bigger Boy is in the garden right now. It's daylight. And he or she is in the garden. Still big, so maybe they're not pregnant. I don't know. But they were sat at the side of the garden about 2 hours ago, just looking. Then they came over to the house going, oh, because George, one of my cats, came running in. And I've just got to go and check. I think he or she is sat right by the back door. Is she still there, George? Hello, darling. Hello. Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Hello, darling. Are you hungry? Would you like something to eat? Shall I give you some biscuits? I'm not gonna go close, but I am gonna give them some biscuits. Because I want to give them some, I'm not gonna touch it, but I'm gonna give it some biscuits. Hello, darling. Oh, well, this is great radio. I'm coming back. I didn't touch it. Oh, my God. Okay. So I put some biscuits down. She doesn't know. I'm not going to die, Emsy. I don't want to die. I put some biscuits down, and we'll see what happens. I'm out of breath just from getting some biscuits out of there. Imagine that, Pete. I'm out of breath just getting some biscuits out of a cupboard.
Happy Father's Day, Daddy Lee.
Hey, this is my middle son. This is Pete. Listen, it's very nice, people phoning up and saying nice things. I like it. But it's odd, isn't it, to say I would not consider saying Happy Father's Day to someone who isn't my father.
I've not said Happy Father's Day to my actual dad, so, you know.
Oh. May I ask why?
I don't know. We have a strained relate. I mean, in theory, we're fine.
All right.
In practice, we have a very strained relationship, and I think a lot of that's on my part, but also he doesn't really. I don't know if he just doesn't know how to talk to me, or just doesn't make an effort. It's I mean, we spoke we met up a couple of weeks ago and had dinner, and that's kind of it, really. I mean, there was unpleasantness. I don't know. I could go on for a very long time, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it just boils down to he wasn't a terribly present part, and there's alcohol issues as well, which I think he's never properly addressed. But mainly, I was around when sort of my parents broke up, and the way he handled things could have been better, you know, to put it mildly. You know, and there's just, I don't know, in some ways there's too much sort of under the bridge to have a proper But I don't know if we ever did. I think he's always been a lot closer to my sister, you know, and especially now she's got the grandkids and things, so. Which obviously I don't have.
Thanks for sharing that, Pete. I'm aware you've spoken about being at your mum's, and I've never heard you. I don't think I've ever heard you mention your dad, and it's tough. As you know, I didn't speak to my dad for years and years, and I'm so glad I made peace before he got ill. With the illness that killed him, you know, I'm glad that was not hastened by him getting ill. You know, it was a genuine attempt by both of us to find some kind of common ground when there hadn't been any for a long time. But it is, we didn't speak for a long time, and a lot of it was down to me. But a lot of it came from when I was an angry, upset 15-year-old boy, and I do think the onus should have been on him throughout my entire life. The onus should have been more on him to make amends and to try and build that bridge. I mean, I was an arsehole to him, you know, but he, you know, he left my mum and did it terribly. He was having affairs. We found out there was, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 kids. I don't know how many kids. I still don't know to this day how many kids there are. And that's crazy. But I did punish him quite a lot. I think the onus is on the dad to do the healing.
It's a
to initiate it anyway.
As I say, you know, in theory, we've kind of put things to one side now and sort of have a relationship, but it's still, you know, it never quite feels like a proper. Well, it doesn't at all. I mean, and it is one of the few concrete things that, I mean, I've been through several different courses of counselling, and it's one of the only things really that has actually come of it that I did kind of reach out to my dad and say, look, I'm really uncomfortable with how you've behaved, and, you know, you're still my dad. Let's have some kind of discussion, which helped get a lot of things out in the open. So I mean, there's no beef really anymore. It's just there's not really much of a. I mean, I think he'd like more of a relationship than he has. You know, I mean, I'm not great at that stuff at the best of times, but I never quite feel like I've got it in me, you know, and that's the main reason I've not, you know, I keep thinking, oh, maybe I'll text him in a bit, maybe I'll sort of, and it would only be a text because I don't want to get into a conversation with him, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's always a bit awkward, and I think that's it. It's, you know, there's the sort of stereotypical father-son awkwardness on top of all that stuff, you know.
I'm chuckling because Jim Bowen has just done a raid, and while you're telling us this incredibly personal stuff, of course, the Would I song starts playing. So you're talking, it's going, would I? So it's a lovely juxtaposition of two worlds that should never really collide. Thank you, Jim.
I would like to apologise to Jim publicly, though.
Okay.
I mean, I've messaged him probably, but I in the moment, I thought it would be quite funny to mention that he'd gone on stream earlier while you were on, and afterwards, I kind of felt, that I don't think I wouldn't have liked that.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know.
You were ironing at the time.
Oh, I was ironing. Who do you think? Who wouldn't have liked it? Him or me?
I don't think he would have liked it. I think,
okay.
I don't know. I'm not gonna. You know, I just felt bad about having done it afterwards.
Okay.
Even though you obviously didn't see it, but
I didn't know, and I don't care. You know, we've had this conversation. I think you and I have had it, but I know I've certainly had it with people that. It's slightly different. Well, it's not slightly different if we're going off Twitch because we'll still be doing it. But you know, I have no problem with any of my peers, and I include you and Jim and Vix and MZ doing a show at the same time that we're doing one. And sometimes I have to second guess myself if I feel like doing a spontaneous show, and I go, "Oh, Pete's on." I kind of feel uncomfortable, but I kind of have to push that to one side because I think we should be allowed to go on any time we want. It's slightly different for me. I have a slightly, not bigger these days, but a slightly bigger draw, and it can have more of an impact with kind of my gravity. But I think we should be able, there's all these different radio stations and TV stations, and we should be able to go on whenever we want to go on, and it's all cool.
I will say that you're probably the only streamer left sort of in my bubble that I will sort of think twice if you're on, because I know it will impact.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I know it will impact my views. Most of the other people I used to worry about, I'm like, well, I now know that, we can both go separately, and it doesn't really impact us.
Pete, can you stay there? I just need to look out the back door. You can talk for a second, but I just heard some of you may have heard some cat crying, and I just want to check it's not. I'll be back in a second.
So if you go to twitch.tv/Jim Bowen, that's JIMBOWYN. It's not the one from Bullseye. He plays marbles on stream sometimes. I don't understand marbles on stream. I'm sorry. I know MC plays this, but I don't understand.
I'm back. I think some of you with the eagle ears, if you're listening on DAB, you'll have heard a cat crying, and I think it was Bigger Boy. Bugger enough, didn't eat the food.
Really?
What do you think is listen? Can you hear that? Hang on.
I heard something. Yeah.
I just want to check it's not Pat's in trouble. Where is he or she? Patty!
I just see it as a random number generator, Clara. It's a random number generator with sort of middling graphics attached to it. I don't get it. It's a lot of people enjoy it. I just don't get it myself.
There's a couple of cats missing, and I don't know where, and I can hear a cat crying out there. That's not good. What is going on with Twitch? There's several things. One is our numbers are down massively, right? And when we were in the thousands, me and Catherine never believed it. We never believed the thousands. That was. Hang on. God, this is awful. Hang on, Patty's stuck upstairs. Pete, entertain the troops.
I will. So yeah, marbles. It's a weird thing, and some people are better at making it an entertainment thing than others. Like I have seen trying to play marbles try and do marbles on stream, run it, and it's just been dreadful. I mean, I will say, the likes of Jim and MZ, and they're really good at like making it seem like something that isn't just random. It's the Noel Edmonds on Deal or No Deal thing. It's making it seem like there's some kind of plan. And some streamers are really good at that.
Patty was locked in I don't know what you were saying, you dirty boy. Patty was locked in the boys' bedroom. That's what that was.
I was just talking about anal. I was saying a lot of people like it. I don't really get it.
Talking about what?
Marbles. Sorry, marbles.
Did you say anal?
I did, but I was.
God. That's a terrible, terrible human being. Someone's left a voice message.
710.
Okie dokie. Whoa.
1. To save it, press 2. To delete, press 3.
I don't know how to access these messages.
About delivery of text messages to landlines, press 4.
Oh, it's a text message to us. Okay, well, that's great. So what is going on with Twitch? So basically, Bigger Boy is out there, and I don't know what's going on. What is going on with Twitch? Because it's a strange old place at the moment, right? As you know, from July the 1st, we will be moving to a combination of Twitch and YouTube. Hello, Jimbo.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good. What you got for us?
Well, I just thought I'd ring in and I know you were talking to Pete about the streaming at the same time and all of that. And
oh yeah, go on. What are your thoughts on it? Because can we get a shout out for Jimbo's channel in the chat, please?
I've already done it.
Good.
So you know me, never short of a self promotion. I did an R about going live, and Jenna will probably tell you in the chat. I was like, I can't believe TLNA have gone live in my usual slot. I mean, how entitled is that?
But okay, so did you feel? And listen, there is no judgment here whatsoever. I'm going into counsellor mode now. This is unconditional positive regard, a little bit of UPR. How did you feel when I went live?
Well, initially it was a little bit of despair because it was like, okay, that's most of the people who come to my stream are going to be in there. I get and totally the thing about a much bigger draw. I get 17, 18, 20 people sometimes, and most of them are in the chat now watching you. But then I've got over myself and said, if they want to come and play marbles, because I do marbles every Sunday evening for Linny 72 because she can't tune in on a Saturday because she's doing her dance lessons. So this is the one stream I guarantee to do every week. I've got to do it. I'm just going to go live. So I just went live. And there was loads of people there. So.
Well, I was going to say, what was the difference in numbers from this week and last week?
None. I had 18, same as last week.
And, I suppose it is slightly easier for me in as much as, we have been going for a while. We have a little bit of whatever, and we are going to get people. So, if you were going to go, if you went live against us, I would not be going, oh shit, we're going to lose some viewers. But I'm trying to think of any peers. If Emsy went live,
Emsy would steal all your viewers. Sorry.
Well, she would, but I wouldn't be going, oh goddamn Emsy, she's a piece of trash. Or if Random British Dude or anybody else that I kind of consider a peer suddenly did a spontaneous live stream, I wouldn't. At this stage in my life, I wouldn't care. And it's partly because I'm in a weird place with Twitch anyway. Part of me just wants to sack it off. Emsy is a piece of cute trash. You know it, girlfriend. But also I do think it's that thing of these are all our own little windows where we look out into the world, and the world can walk past down the street and they can look into us. And I was never annoyed if I was on the radio the same time as a friend or a peer. It just, I think we all kind of find our natural audiences. So I'm sorry that you felt angry or entitled or whatever it is.
No, you don't need to apologise because that's you've taught us. That's me. That's my feelings, and it was fear. That was what I was feeling. Was fear. I'm going to go live and no one will turn up. And the funny thing is, I haven't had that since when I first did a couple of streams last year off my PlayStation, and ever since I've had a face cam, people have turned up. I've never had nobody. So, and that's what I was frightened of. But that's me. That's not you.
What do you think is going on with Twitch? Because I was saying a minute ago, our numbers are down massively, right? And when it was in the thousands, I never believed it. We were told very early on that the Twitch algorithm kind of lies, and if you are on the front page, that can count as views sometimes.
You know why? Because that's what they're selling adverts on.
Yeah. And so, but our figures are down from, we're not even getting in 600, 700, 800. We're getting 200, 300, 400, which is great, but it's a huge difference.
The Euros are on.
Oh, there could be a bit of that. I think it's been going on longer than that, but yes, that could certainly be playing into it now. So there's that. There's also
opening up.
I was going to say, we're going back to a new kind of, hang on a second, I believe I have documentary audio footage of...
New normal?
We're going to a...
New normal?
And so you're right, people are going to be out more, so I think daytime streams are going to struggle a little bit.
And people are back in the office, and it's not.
Yeah.
I've found that. This is how much of a weird headspace you can be in. I was sat in the office, and you went live, and it was one of the first times I've been in, back in the office, and I just instinctively put it on full blast on my phone. Sat in the middle of the office with everybody. you know, how bizarre, thinking I was just sat at home and I can do what I like and just have it blaring out my phone.
And there's also the whole Amaranth situation. And I think Twitch is having an existential crisis in that it doesn't know what it is anymore. When it was a gaming platform, they knew what it was. It was a gaming platform with some little fringy stuff going on. But now that they've expanded to cover so much stuff.
And they've seen off their biggest challenges.
Yeah. Well, Mixer's gone.
Facebook gaming.
That's all gone.
YouTube is hit and miss, really. You know, you're
and of
fortunate
course,
taking a
the sex. Wherever there's an audience, sex is going to come. Sex. There's a phrase, but sex is going to come. And
I've never been that lucky.
Despite, you know, I'm picking out Amaranth just because she's one of the two that have been suspended, banned, whatever it is.
Foxy or something.
Foxy. You know, and despite, I don't think she's a particularly pleasant person because I've seen her horrible racist rant and all of that. But despite her protestations, that is sex. That is sex. That, you know, with skin tight trousers with your ass in the air, licking a. Not sexy when I do it. And so.
It feel like you were licking my ear, though. So.
I can lick your left ear and your right ear. And I think that,
I didn't hear the right ear. No, I'm not. If you're doing it again, I'm not getting the right ear.
Well then you got a dodgy cable. Twitch is having an existential. Let me wipe that off. It's having an existential crisis. It doesn't know what it is. It doesn't know what it is, and it doesn't know how to respond to this situation.
So you were caught up in some of the change of the management within Twitch, anyway.
Yes.
And in amongst that as well, that change was forced by a load of sexual harassment stuff. But there's a bigger change at the Amazon group generally, because Matey Boy's off to Mars and he's retired.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff. So you've got that, you know, corporate will be demanding other things. They're desperate for revenues not to fall at all now that Jeff's gone, because that looks like, you know, it's a cult of personality with just, you know, Jeff was the company and Amazon's not going to survive anymore, and that'll scare the stock market. And then you've got the whole Twitch have cleaned a bit of house as little as they could get away with.
Oh God, that statement they sent out last time about the pools and bikinis. They said, we have thought long and hard about this, and we think that, and it so didn't address the situation at all. And creating a new category was never going to work. We went to talk shows and podcasts for a week, and we just disappeared completely off the radar. So we came back to whatever it is, just chatting. I can't remember. And so creating a new thing was never going to satisfy those streamers. But also there's that porn side, but the quite often the chat in Twitch is so toxic. There's so much swearing and misogyny and homophobia that is completely normalized.
Yeah, and it's funny. So I've been telling quite a few people recently. I've almost got an armory of swords now. I'm modding a lot of channels. And that's not a humble brag or anything, but it gives context to this. But what people will accept, so you will accept the least in your chat of anything.
Okay.
All right. And I think it's right, and I think it makes, I hate the term, but a safe space for people to be in.
Yeah.
I was in, and I hadn't even got the sword at this point, but I'm joining Vix's, and somebody was making a joke at Vix's expense that I would have. It was like sexualizing the host that in TLNA would have been boom, gone. And there was just a little bit of almost acceptance of it. And then, funnily enough, with Emsy last night, there was another one. Somebody was backseat gaming what she was trying to do.
Right.
And got in an argument with me. And I'm one of Emsy's mods. And that all got a bit awkward. And it was like, again, I would have got rid of them 5 messages before, and one of the other mods messaged me actually to check I was all right about it. And it's funny that your chat, because the mods are so good, and they are, your chat is the least toxic in a weird way, because you just don't accept it. But
I understand why people would First of all, me and Catherine are quite old, so I think our kind of standard, we're old people with young kids, so we've got those two extremes. I can understand how also people, and we were getting paid by Twitch. We were getting a fixed amount every month from Twitch, so we weren't so beholden to the subs and the bits. It was a very strange but interesting deal, and I can see why other people who are, every sub, every 10 bits counts.
Trying to build something.
Why you would take someone saying your tits look nice or you're a twat. Whatever it may be.
Nobody said that to me yet.
Your tits do look nice, Jim. No, but I can understand why some people, one would take more stuff on Twitch than perhaps you would in real life because you don't want to lose that audience. And I think that's I think Twitch in some ways is as toxic is the wrong word, it's too strong, but it has some of the negative effects that Twitter has of needing likes, numbers. You're chasing numbers. And I think whenever you're chasing numbers, you lose a little bit of yourself.
What I don't think it's quite as adversarial as Twitter is.
No.
But I would say it's exactly like YouTube comments.
Okay,
and downvotes. It is exactly, or being on Reddit. It's that level of toxicity. And, people don't like being told stop being a dick, do they?
And I don't want to take it. And it's been a real eye-opener for me. I got terrible indigestion. I had a big roast, and then I finished off my boys' roasts, and then I had a cheese board. I'm in a terrible state.
Cheese board on top of that.
Oh, mate. And I wouldn't normally have a dessert, because I'm losing a bit of weight. I just thought, it's Father's Day. Get a cheese board, man. Yeah, you've earned it. Get a goddamn cheese board. And I'm so glad I did. What was I going to say? I can't remember it, so it can't be important. And that's a new thing for me. Something slips out of my mind. Oh, well, it's gone.
Well, funny enough, I shared. Have you seen the Star Wars meme where it's Anakin and Padme, and Anakin says something, and Padme says, "But you're gonna fix it, right?" And Anakin just looks at her and says, and she says, "But you're gonna fix it, right?" So I saw one earlier, which is streamer, and said, "loses track," and the chat says, "But you're gonna finish that point, right?" You're going to finish that, is that right? And Anakin just looks at her. But you're going to finish that, Anakin. And that's me. I just retweeted it saying, it's me. I just remember. I'm of an age where I don't want to take that shit from anybody anymore.
And I'm also a little bit tired. I think my patience with certain people, my patience has got a little bit shorter. If 3, 4, 5 years ago, if people... And it was easier. What am I trying to say? It was easier when people phoned in because you could tell if people were drunk or not. Yeah. And if they were drunk 3, 4, 5 years ago, I would, as you will know if you listened, I would kind of sit down and talk to them and say, well, maybe you should go. Now, I don't have that kind of patience. Now it's, don't speak to me like that. Come back when you're sober. I'm not even going to, here's a phone number for AA. Come back when you're sober. I'm not doing it. I don't have to take this.
You think some of it's patience and some of it's your training as a counsellor?
I think some of it is because you are taught to you talk about unconditional positive regard, but you're also taught to protect yourself. Yeah. And if someone is being abusive or is being incredibly obnoxious, you don't actually have to take it. You weigh it up, and sometimes it's doing more harm to them by taking it. You could be in some cases encouraging that behavior by sitting there and going, okay, right, well, so you think I'm a C and you want to F my mother, okay, but so those are quite extreme examples, but yeah. I don't want people to swear at me. That's all it is. I don't want my kids to see me getting sworn at. That's it. I've said to my boys, when we go on Patreon, I don't mind if you want to come on the stream and help me out a bit and if you want to interview me or play some games or something, you can come on the stream once we go behind the paywall. So there's a reason to sub up, guys.
There you go.
You get to see my kids.
They're magic. Credit to you.
Bless you, man. All right, nice to talk to you, Jim. Thank you, mate.
Cheers, Ian.
Take care. Bye-bye. 0203 286 6370. I've got a pen and paper, and there were so many things rushing through my head then that I should have written down. We talked earlier on, we did an ironing stream when Jim was on, there was an ironing stream. Because I just thought, I've got to do some ironing. First of all, I've got to catch up some hours. We are way behind on our hours here. And I thought, I've got to do some hours and I'm going to do some ironing. I know, why don't we do a stream? And I won't even be able to see the chat. If you missed it, if you want to hear the podcast, become a £6.66 or above patron, because it's going to go up on there tonight after this. We were talking about living as opposed to existing. And I was really been thinking, I had such a lovely weekend with my boys. After being a little bit nervous about it and kind of dreading it a little bit, just because I'm tired and I'm grumpy and I'm old. And I thought, I'm going to write down when I've lived over the past 48 hours as opposed to existed. And actually, do you know what? I had quite a lot. I've got to turn the light on. When I do these radio shows, I have the curtains drawn. Pete says, so many years of you hiding your kids from our eyes. Give it a couple of months and we'll be going, oh no, not these guys again. Listen, my boys are going to take over the stream, and when they do, I will be
down and out in the city. People pass you by. Now you know who your friends really are. Life is growing colder, you feel older. The life you've led has cut you down to size. You thought you played it pretty cool, but now at last you're forced to realise you've been a fool. Down and out in the city, no one hears your cry. Now you know what despair is about. When you hit the bottom, you're forgotten. It's far too late to try and make amends. You can't undo what you have done. Down and out in the city, in the dirt you lie. Now you know that your luck has run out. One thing is for certain, it's the curtain.
To be loved by you, yes it is. How sweet it is to be loved by you. I close my eyes at night, wondering where would I be without you in my life. Everything was just before. Things I did seem like I did them before. But you've brightened up all my days with your sweet love in so many ways. I want to stop and thank you. I want to stop and thank you. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Yes, it is. How sweet it is to be loved by you. I needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed somebody to tell my ups and downs to, and there you were. Your sweet love and devotion deeply touches my emotion. I want to stop and thank you. I want to stop and thank you. How sweet it is to be loved. How sweet it is to be loved by you.
I am broken Britain.
Knockers are better.
Never.
No, that's the wrong answer.
It wasn't even good enough to be shit.
Big buckle of drugs with no top on.
Good morning, lovely jubbly.
Bill's had his fill of young males.
I needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed somebody to tell my ups and downs to, and there you were. Your sweet love and devotion deeply touched sweet it is to be loved by you. How sweet it is to be loved.
Let's get the bloody thing going.
How sweet it is to be
Woohoo! I've got a but terrible indigestion. I'm really. I can't get a job on radio. The Radio Academy messaged me and said, no, we haven't got anything for you. So that's that. That's that, guys. So I was thinking, when have I been living in the last 48 hours opposed to existing? And I got some good ones. I wrote them down. I don't want to say I was having a really satisfying dump while I wrote them down, but I really was. It was just on, when it's just on the edge of, before it gets, a problem. Sweet. Anyway, well, that was it. So I'm here, and when I do the radio shows, I call these the radio shows because there's no picture. And when I do the radio shows, I have the lights off. I haven't got any lights on, just got the 3 screens in front of me. I have a little candle going. I have the curtains drawn. And behind me, I have that fake neon live on air sign. That's on, but I can't really see it. Can't see it at all, but it helps create a vibe, right? And so I wrote down when I was having this satisfying poo, the times I'd lived this weekend as opposed to existed. And I've got 6. And I just wondered when you last lived, not existed. I have to preface this with saying I am in a position of privilege. I have a nice house. I have a few quid. I ain't rich, but I have a few quid. I'm earning enough to cover most of the bills at the moment. And my kids don't live with me, which is a blessing and it's a curse, right? It's, I love my boys, but I also enjoy kind of my own company. So I miss them terribly. So these are the 6 things that I did in the last 48 hours where I was alive. Some of them didn't last very long. So Friday night was not doing the show. We didn't do the show. Watching the football, having a Chinese with my kids and Catherine. I hate football. I hate football, right? But my boys, for the first time, said, can we watch the football tonight? And I went, of course you can. England v Scotland. And my youngest wanted Scotland to win. And we watched, we got into the game 10 minutes late because we were watching a film called Luca, which is a really cool little cartoon. Jeez. Cartoon. By the way, at 10 o'clock, we're going to start listening to Alan Bezic. If you want to assemble in the Discord, at 10 o'clock, we're going to have the Alan Bezic Round Table, I'm calling it. I've just decided now. It's a great name. Alan Bezic Round Table, where we'll just sit and listen to Alan Bezic and we'll chat about it. So we watched that and we watched the football and we had some Chinese food and it was me and my boys and Catherine came round because her kids were away that night. And I said, don't be on your own. Come round and hang out and I'll get some Chinese and we won't work and it'll be a night off. And it was magic. It was living. That didn't last the whole match. Maybe didn't even last the whole meal. But there was joy watching my boys get really excited about something I don't really understand. Seeing them grow into young men with their own interests and having my best mate there, some good food, birthday presents that I mentioned earlier on. I was living. I had a nice stroke with Mucky. That sounds rude. She's one of my cats. She's my favourite cat out of all 5 cats. And I just had a nice stroke and she reminds me so much of Velvet, my poor dear girl that passed away last year. And she's so... you don't really see her very often and see very much of her. She lives her own life. She's her own creature. She's deformed. She has, is it concave? Or she's got, basically her chest goes in instead of out, right? And when I was told when I I was going to get her, and then she went and got tested at the hospital, or the vets. And I got a call from the people saying, "I got some bad news. Mucky's chest goes in, so there's no problems now. Concave, there's no problems now, but there might be problems. So if you don't want to take her, we'll understand." I said, "Well, hang on, that's even more reason to take her. Who's going to love her as much as I can?" So Mucky's my favourite, but when you get a stroke with her, she lets you know she's enjoying it. Her head goes down and it pushes into you. She likes pushing her head sort of under your arm. It's magic. I was living. I was in the kitchen, cleaning the kitchen, because it was a mess, and I cleaned out my cupboards. I cleaned out a cupboard, right? And as I was doing it, my eldest, Alex, was in this room on this computer playing Fortnite with his friends. And suddenly he burst into hysterics, like 15, 20 seconds of that loud belly laugh where it hurts. And I just stood on the other side of the door and I listened to the laughter. I don't know what it was. Well, I do know what it was because I asked him afterwards and he told me, and I didn't get it, which makes it even more magic. 20 seconds of hearing my eldest boy in hysterics. I was living. Watching Poltergeist with the boys. I think I told you that earlier on. My 9-year-old wanted to watch a scary film and I had to weigh it up. What would be scary but not too scary? I ain't going to show him a Saw. I ain't going to show him a Texas Chainsaw Massacre like he wants to see. So what can I show him that's scary but not that will be okay, that I would consider a 4 out of 10 in the fear factor? And I went for Poltergeist, and it was such a joy watching it. I've watched it kind of 1.5 times because we watched the first 45 minutes and then my youngest said, "Can we stop it for a bit? I'm a bit scared." And then we kind of did the rest of the day, and then he fell asleep, and my eldest watched the rest of it with me. Then they were both so scared they got in my bed. And then this morning, my youngest said I was really peed off that we'd watched it without him. So I watched it again with him, and it was a joy. I kept going, "Are you all right?" And when its scary bit was coming up, I just put my hand on his knee just to let him know I was there. And at the end, I said, "Right, we're going to break the spell. Let's open the curtains. Let's turn the lights on. We're going to break the spell." And we talked about poltergeists. And I think I believe in poltergeists. But watching that was living. Playing top trumps over the roast dinner. Someone bought me and Catherine some cat top trumps. And we went to a wonderful pub today for a roast dinner for Father's Day. The best roast potatoes ever. And we played top trumps. And then I had a cheese board and I shared it with my boys. That is living. Let me count. Listening to my eldest in hysterics, watching Poltergeist, playing top trumps, stroking Mucky, watching the football. Free. Okay, there was Chinese food with the football, but it would have been just as great without it. We were playing top trumps over the roast, but even if we weren't having a roast, it would have been magic. Cheese board. Cheese board's the only thing that costs. It costs £7. Some cheese board, baby. Free. That was living, all right. That wasn't existing. That wasn't just getting through the day. That wasn't just pushing on. That wasn't doing something for the man. That wasn't another, "Oh my God, do I have to do this all over again? Didn't I do it right the first time?" Those were actual moments of living. That's a pretty high number for me. You know me, I'm miserable as sin. Bipolar. May have to come off my bipolar meds because they may be lowering my white blood cells. Got to go for going for the jab on Tuesday, going to get my bloods tested again on Wednesday. Then I've got to decide whether, or my psychiatrist decides whether I stay on these meds or we change them. Oh man, it's so boring. That's existing. Having a cheese board and sharing it with my kids, who then didn't want that much of it because they didn't like the cheese. That was living, man. I want to do more of that. But I don't really know how to. I don't really know how to incorporate living into my life. There's a sentence. How do I incorporate living into my life? If you have any suggestions, 0203 286 6370. That's the phone number. You can Skype in as well from anywhere in the world. You don't have to turn your camera on. In fact, I'd rather you didn't during these kind of shows. If you want to Skype in, it's TLNA from anywhere in the world. And it doesn't have to be what I'm talking about. It can be about anything you want it to be. If you just want to phone up and have a chat, if you just haven't spoken to anyone for a day, if you're going absolutely nuts, if you got something, I was going to say if you had a joke to tell. No. I don't like jokes. Jokes make me very uncomfortable. I think jokes, coming up to someone saying, hey, I got a funny joke for you. I think it's a form of bullying to be, I came up with a great theory about the Beatles. Do you want to hear my theory about the Beatles? And then it applies to COVID, right? I think the Beatles, the experience of being the Beatles, right? Here we go. I put up the Beatles, the Beatles sign. What do they call the Batman sign, Dave?
Bat signal.
The bat signal. I've put up the beat signal.
The fab signal.
The fab signal has arrived, has been put up, and Fabman has come along. Hey, Dave, how you doing?
I'm doing great, yeah.
When was the last time you lived?
Friday.
Go on.
I went to see my friend I haven't seen since before lockdown.
Beautiful.
We sat in a pub, had a nice lunch, talked a lot of rubbish. Then we went a bit of crate digging in a shop about a few doors away because it was raining like hell on Friday. And then we just went back to the pub and talked some more. And it was,
living.
That's what it's about, really.
Living. That's a good one, man. That's a good one. I want to do more of it. I'm tired. I've really, and I guess I'm heading for an up in my bipolar, so it makes it a whole lot easier than when I'm in a downward. So I'm going to grab onto it and ride it. But I've been worrying so much about Patreon, so much about Twitch, so much about numbers. All my working life, a lot of my working life has been about numbers. Are the numbers high enough? The last 16 years working in radio, definitely. It was a little bit during the 11 o'clock show 22 years ago, but it was kind of. Actually, there was. I remember when we dropped to 700,000 once. It was a disaster. But certainly the last 16 years being on radio, it's all been about chasing numbers. And I'm doing it now. I'm chasing numbers. And grinding this Patreon and grinding Twitch and worrying about the numbers here and stuff. And man, that just kills your soul. I want to live more. I want to live and experience. I think you've got to
take more opportunities to do stuff when people offer it rather than go, I can't be asked.
Here's the thing. I've been meaning to talk about this. I'm so excited about this Get Back documentary, right? And so now we know it's going to be a 6-hour documentary. Well, part of me thinks, okay, well, that may have adverts and there'll be recaps, so we could be down to as little as 5.5 hours. So I'm thinking it's not enough. I want more. But I started watching something, and I keep forgetting I've got the last half of it to watch. Have you seen the Bo Burnham special on Netflix?
No, yeah, I keep meaning to watch it.
It's incredible, right? So those don't know, Bo Burnham's a comedian and an actor. He's 29 years old, geez. And he filmed a comedy special during lockdown, basically in a room, right? And I'm watching it, and I'm thinking it's incredible. I think it's beautiful. I think it's funny. It's heartfelt. It pushes the envelope quite a bit. It's shocking. It's incredible, right? I'm halfway through it. And I'm thinking two things. I'm thinking, shit, I've wasted. I'm thinking three things. Thinking, shit, I've wasted lockdown. I've wasted lockdown. I should have been making a work of art like this guy. That's one. Then I start thinking, shit, I've wasted my life. I was thinking that, watching this. I've wasted my life. And then the third one was, I don't want to watch this because it's too good. Does that make sense to you? That was the weird one. I thought, I actually don't want to watch this because it's too good. And I'm jealous. That's part of it. I'm sad because it will be over in an hour and 20 minutes, and I don't want it to be over. I can't put it... I didn't want to watch it because it was too good.
I often think the musicians must think that sometimes when they see someone do something really good and go, well, I always think that about musical instruments, learning to play them. If you see someone play it really well, you just go, what am I bothering? I'm never going to hit that. So,
yeah.
But you still do because you find something in it. But I guess if you don't if you don't find something enjoyable in doing what you're doing, then you've got to find something else, but that's not as easy as said and done.
It's not as easy. Anyway, David, the Beatles.
The Beatles, your Beatles theory.
My theory is that being a Beatle, for particularly between 62 and 70, right? That 8 years, particularly between 62 and 66 when they were touring, I think it must have been like trauma. I think when they, towards the end or when they came out, they had PTSD.
Yeah.
Because it's trauma.
That famous quote of George's, they gave their money and their screens and we gave our nervous system.
Yeah, exactly. And I've often heard Mickey Dolenz talk about what it was like to be a monkey. And he said, only 4 of us know what it was like. And we were in the eye of a hurricane. And, you multiply that by a million, which is what, the Beatles, only 4 of them know what that was like. And then you got Mal Evans and you got Brian, you got other people that were kind of on the fringes. Only 4 of them knows what it was like to walk out on stage for that first time that they couldn't hear themselves play, and it must have been. I make up that it was traumatic. And you look at how they came out. Ringo became a boozer. George kind of disappeared behind this massive 20-foot wall in his mansion and, kind of dove into religion. Lennon kept flirting on and off with the avant-garde and with heroin. And Paul sort of may have had a little bit of a nervous breakdown and then decided to start from scratch, was too scared to go out as Paul McCartney. Had to be in another band. I know he did the McCartney album, but had to be in another band.
I think he just loves being in bands.
I think he does. I was just saying earlier on, he loved being in the Beatles, but he had to be in another band. But it could have been the Paul McCartney band, but he tried to make it equal by giving, Denny Lane, who I think is great, but some other songwriters who weren't as great, giving them songs on albums he didn't need to. It must have been traumatic.
I'll have to ask you to step outside.
So, say that again. No, I'm talking about Wings specifically. I'm talking about Wings specifically. But Elvis is a bit overrated. But I think they must have suffered great trauma. And they, Lennon never had... Because I was listening to a Lennon interview from 74 or something when Mind Games came out. And he talks about the Beatles in such a detached... It's a really weird way of talking about a group that you were in 4 or 5 years ago. He's got a really strange turn of phrase about it. And he's quite down to earth, but it's a really peculiar phrasing. And I just think... I have nothing more than that. I think I think they all came out with PTSD and no one's ever kind of brought that up.
And speaking about them in sort of in the third person, where detaching yourself from...
Yeah,
from that thing,
and the fact that it never ended.
About McCartney at the moment, the band he's been with, what he tours with live, he's been with years longer than he was.
20 years, 25 years, something like that.
Musicians.
Yeah, and it never ended as well. I mean, it ended for Lennon in a horrific way, and that would have just been that would have been traumatic for the 3 of them. Thinking, shit, we're targets now. 25% of us have been assassinated. We're targets. But it never ended. You think, you leave a job and, maybe 2 years later you might see someone and go, oh, Dave, we used to work together. They've had that every day since 1970, since they split up. When are the Beatles going to get back together? What was it like being a Beatle? Do you think? Tell me about what do you remember from great new album? What do you remember from Sgt. Pepper? They've never been able to let those 8 years go.
And McCartney said a couple of times that him and Lennon were in the same room. All eyes were on them. What they were going,
Yeah.
Particularly in the studio that time when they made that awful sort of jam session. But
I've never listened to it. The jam session.
Those two people walk in a room, everyone's going to be watching, see how they are with each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's it's an oddity. I mean, it's I say as far as Get Back's concerned, 6 hours, not long enough, quite. But I just couldn't see how they were going to fit all of the rooftop gig, then everything else into 90 minutes.
I thought they were going to do what they did when I saw that 8 Days a Week film. When I saw it, special screening, they showed Shea Stadium as a B movie.
Yeah, I saw it.
And I thought, I thought they were going to do the same with Get Back. They were going to have the rooftop as like the B movie kind of.
I just wonder for once maybe the pandemic sort of helped it a bit in that.
Oh yeah,
he's had time to think. This ain't going to work in 2 hours or whatever. This has got to be longer. And I know he likes his trilogies, Peter Jackson. But I'm delighted. I mean, I think it's going to split very much Twickenham. Well, the 2 hours of Twickenham's are hard,
Yeah.
But I don't think, unlike you, I don't think Let It Be is that down a movie. The Nothing Is Real guys were saying tonight. It's because it's so grainy and so the quality is nothing like the trailer we saw recently.
I think the footage.
It looks bright and beautiful. The actual film, Let It Be, looks really grimy and.
Oh, I think it looks awful, and also we've only ever seen like third, fourth, fifth generation VHS copies. Right. So that instantly, and you get that kind of that hum that you get with a bootleg video. I love Let It Be. I've watched it, 4, 5, 6 times. I don't know if I've still got it. I used to have it. I got it somewhere. I have got it. I know exactly where it is. It's in the garage. I do think it's a bleak movie, but I love it. I love it, and I love that period, and the fact that maybe that isn't the truth. Maybe it isn't like that. Brilliant. Let's see it.
Because of a lot of the stuff is from Twickenham in the Let It Be movie rather than Apple.
Yeah.
And I just think, they gave him 6 months to edit down 100 hours of footage, and he made the film as he remembered the miserable stuff in Twickenham.
I also don't think Michael Lindsay Hogg's that good.
No. Was he Orson Welles' illegitimate?
I don't know. Suddenly it's getting very, very juicy, Dave.
Yeah, but no, as I said, I had a really good day. I had a nice 2-hour chat with Stephen from the Nothing Is Real lads the other night, just on the phone. We just went through, loads of Beatles stuff and loads of, he's bought the George Harrison 800 quid.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
No, the one that's made out of a tree from George's garden. And it's got a gnome.
Yeah, he's gone for that. Yeah, and that was in between. I spoke to him on Thursday night or Wednesday night, and by Friday night he bought it. So
ask him if he can.
Thursday, Wednesday, he went, no, I think it's a bit too much.
And then he did it. Ask him if he can tape it for us. If someone tapes it, I'll have listened to it once. But that's.
Oh, he's a massive George head, though, isn't he? So,
yeah. Well, good for him. Good for that's living. That's living. To him, that is worth it.
You're going to do it. But also, there's I don't know if you heard their latest episode and latest bonus episode. They talk about a Paul book, which is about 3,000 quid and stuff like that. And if you added it all up, how much would it come to? But it's expensive being a Beatles fan these days. But at least Disney is $8.99 or something to subscribe for a month.
The Beatles are the greatest goddamn rock and roll band in the whole goddamn world.
The greatest story ever told,
Isn't it? All right, Dave, nice to talk to you, man.
You too, man.
Take care, brother. Bye-bye. Living. All right, 800 quid for a box set. I nearly bought a Monkeys book for like 300 quid or something. And in the end, I went for the $75 version. Plus, I think it's like $120 postage. Jeez. But that's living all right. Badger Spark. I used to be into buying. I've got a Monkeys album that's worth probably about $500 or $600, and I've got a single that's probably worth about $600-700. But I don't. That stuff isn't living for me anymore. It used to be. Some of it used to be, but also I think for me, some of it was the habit or thinking that's what made me happy. If you think it makes you happy. Does it matter? Yeah, because it wasn't actually making me happy. I would order so many things, and they would. Pete, time yourself up, please. And thinking, well, this will be the one. Flash. This will be the one that makes me happy. And you guess what, kids? It never was. It never was the one that made me happy. I enjoy these shows. 0203 286 6370. The phone number's on the screen. That's the only thing on the screen. And the Skype, TLNA, from anywhere in the world. Turn your camera off. I don't want to see you. But I love these shows. This, to me, is what it's all about. And there will be more of these. Come July the 1st, things are going to change. Things are changing around here, guys. Pieces of trash.
Big buckle of drugs with no top on.
Strung out on heroin. Let's get the bloody thing going.
Thank you, everyone who's saying they're great. Things are going to change from July the 1st. There'll be no B movies. There'll be less ads. Okay? But we will be going behind a paywall. The shows will be shorter on Twitch and on you. We're mixing a mixture of Twitch and YouTube. And the shows will be shorter. You're going to get like 30, 45 minutes of free stuff. Then we're going to go behind a paywall for our £6.66 and above patrons. We don't want to do it. We don't want to do it. But we have to do it to feed our mortgage and pay our kids. And honestly, we don't want to do it. If there was any other way, Twitch have paid us the last year. And maybe one day we'll write a book about how that worked and what they paid us. And first they offered it to me. And then I said, yeah, but can I bring my friend Catherine along? Because she was still stuck in Talk Radio. And I said, Kath, how much, if you don't mind telling me, how much are you earning at Talk Radio? And she told me, I said, right, I can offer you this. They're offering us this. How about we split it in half? Would you leave Talk Radio and come and do the show with me? So I could have made a lot more money, but I wouldn't have been living. Do you see? It wouldn't have been as much fun. It wouldn't have been as much of a journey. It would have been so much lonelier without my best mate there. And also my best mate would be stuck in a really crappy, horrible job working for a-holes. Ain't gonna happen, not on my watch. We're the best double act. But so they paid us a thing. They're not paying us from July the 1st. So this is live Grandmaster Clash. Yes, believe it or not. So that's why we are moving to Patreon. Go and have a look. Someone post the Patreon link in the chat. Go and have a look at it. Also, the daily podcast that we put out now, that's going to go behind the paywall. We have to do it. We have to do it. We have to do it. And we hope you'll come along. 600 of you are coming along. We're going to have a laugh. But so the shows are going to change. We will be doing the radio show. I will be doing this show, but I guess it will be behind the paywall. I'm going to do some retro gaming. It won't be as interactive as Twitch. On YouTube, yes, it will. Yes, it will. I don't see why not. There'll be some gaming which will be on Twitch and will not be behind a paywall. So the retro gaming won't be behind the paywall. That's happening. MZ, we're going to get some GameCube. Going to get some Dreamcast up and running. I tried to get my Dreamcast online. There is a way of doing it because I want to play Choo Choo Rocket online, but it's a pain in the ass. And I couldn't get it to work on my hub. Maybe we'll try that again. Some GameCube, some Dreamcast, some N64, some Sega Saturn, some Genesis. I believe you call the Mega Drive over there the Genesis. Excuse me. Hogs of War. So it's going to be good. And that won't be behind the paywall. And we'll be doing late night alternative. We'll be doing watch-alongs. And if you're a £20 or above Patreon, we'll play some C64. If you're a £20 or above Patreon, you will be first dibs on the invites to come and play some games with us. Badger Spark, sign up whenever you want to sign up. There's already about 3 months worth of stuff up there now if you sign up now. It is set up as the day you sign up, you pay your first fee, and then you get paid on the first day of the next month. So however it works for you. But if you sign up now, there is loads of stuff in there. If you want to sub to us on Twitch, we're still accepting your subs. If you can hold off As Emsy says, there already do much great content. There already do much great content. She's right. There already do much great content. If you want to sub to the Twitch, I suggest July the 1st because of a quirk of our contract. If you sub to Twitch now, we don't get a penny. If you do it on July the 1st, we get half of that. So that would be my suggestion for that. What is this song? Hang on. It's a strange Anthony Moore, Stitching Time. I like the do 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 do. Daddy Dino says, quick question, if we sub on here, Twitch, I'm waiting till July the 1st to ring you. Do we need to also sign up to Patreon to hear the live streams behind the paywall? Yes, you do. It's the only way. The only way to get the full show is the £6.66 and above Patreon levels, I'm afraid. We don't want to do it. And some people are going, oh, I hate you for doing it. I don't want to do it. We don't want to do it, but we got to do it. We got to go back to the island. I got such bad indigestion. Where have you been? If you've just tuned in, where have you been? I've been on, I was on since like 5:30, right? Did I start at 5:30? That's 4 hours. It says, doesn't say 4 hours on the thing because I stopped, I took a break. But I've been on, was it 5:30 or was it 6? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Suffice to say, I've been on for about 4 hours. Where have you been? Been to London to visit the Queen. I saw Peter Rabbit 2 the other day. I actually enjoyed it more than I was expecting. I don't like Peter Rabbit. I don't like James Corden. It's easy to slag people off, and I don't like doing it, but. And when you put a but in the sentence, the first bit of the sentence, you might as well not have said. So we'll just go straight in. I don't think James Corden is very good. Discuss. I don't think he's a very good actor. There's something. There's a couple of people who I see, and I don't think they're very good. I don't think Idris Elba's very good. And I know. Whoa! I'm getting okay. You all love Idris. That's fine. But him and Gordon, there's something. I know it's kicked off in the chat. I do apologise. Okay, let's focus on Corden. Let's focus on Corden. I'm not doing a Mike Graham, and I don't want to, be contentious for the sake of being contentious. Okay. I think there's an earnestness, an over earnestness. There's an over earnestness. There's an over earnestness in his acting. I just don't think is particularly good. And it kind of, and I'm not one of them that hates him because he's James Corden. I don't hate him. I don't think there is someone I hate, but they're going to court soon, so I don't want to get involved in that. So there's one person I hate, but I don't hate Corden, and I'm not one of those, Corden's load of shit. And yes, I probably am slightly jealous of him. My plan was to go to America and get his and get a big TV show, and that never happened. It genuinely was my plan, was go to America, get him movies and a TV show, but it just never happened. Ian, but that's not why I dislike him. I just don't think I kind of. Every time he acted in Peter Rabbit 2, I just kind of thought, here we go. It ran. What's it? It rung me up the wrong way. It rubbed me up the wrong way. Rubbed me up the wrong way. We got there.
Who are these people?
I don't know. I wish they'd.
Shut up.
Yeah, but they won't. 0203 286 6370 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. And you can call me about anything. If you're struggling, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're down, if you want to talk about the Beatles, I had another thing. Here we go. Well, Marcus, literally not what I did, mate. Oh, here we go. Let's all hate on Corden. For what exactly? Marcus, it's literally not what I did. So you can take that back, and I accept your apology. Oh, here we go. Let's all hate on Corden. For what exactly? I thought I was handling it very, very tactfully, and if you remember, I said I didn't hate him. What was I going to say? So I talked about the Beatles and how being a Beatle was probably traumatic in the truest sense of the word. I've had PTSD, and you mention it. You've got to be careful saying it on... I think being in the jungle was traumatic and caused PTSD. I do. Genuinely think being on I'm a Celebrity caused PTSD. But if you say that online... boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I think there are gradations of PTSD. And also I think PTSD can come from a small thing. I think you can get it from being shouted at as, you're 7 years old and you get shouted at in the street. I think under certain circumstances, that can cause PTSD. But if you go, I'm tempted to post it on Twitter just to see the reaction. I believe going on I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here, caused me PTSD. The amount of angry people, generally people who have a flag, the flag of St. George as their avatar, get very, very angry. How can you? My dad, I was served in the army. I served in the Gulf War, right? And I saw it, and then they say some horrible things. That's PTSD. That's PTSD. That is PTSD. And yeah, that is PTSD. But it doesn't negate the other experience. PTSD is not the exclusive preserve of soldiers. I'm not comparing with what happened to me in the jungle with going on a tour of Iraq. Wouldn't for a second. Marcus, I'm waiting for that apology. Because I'm assuming it's coming because you accused me of something I hadn't done. I'm not comparing with the bullying and all of that. PT Strawberries D, that's stretching it a bit, Peter. I'm not comparing with the bullying that I had in the jungle and all of that stuff with seeing your mates blown up or whatever. Not comparing with it, but it was traumatic for me, and that's it, and that's enough. It's traumatic for me. Your traumatic experience to others, they might go, "What, Marcus? You like James Corden? It's fine, and some people don't, and it's fine." I did not say I hated him. Au contraire, Marcus. Au contraire. Marcus says, what exactly to Beastie Boy? He co-wrote and starred in one of the best sitcoms ever. What have you done? So it's all kicking off in the chat. Let's go to the line, shall we? Hello, Pete. Not Pete, it's Alistair. Sorry, I read the word Pete. I'm one of those people, Alistair, if I'm looking at a word, I'll say it, even if I mean to say something else. So let's try again. Good evening, Alistair.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you very, very well, yes.
All right, okay. Yeah, really enjoyed the calls tonight on your show.
We've had some good ones, haven't we?
Some very interesting stuff there, and about what Twitch are up to and everything. So I hope this isn't going to bring a downer to everybody.
No such thing as a downer, Alistair. It's all conversation.
Okay, so I just wanted to update you on where I am with counselling, and I'm actually probably not going to do it, the EMDR stuff.
Okay, so can I just say, Jimbo has mentioned EMDR in the chat, and someone said, Jimbo, what is EMDR? Wixter's replied, electronic music dance rave. So it's not that. Yeah, I'll have some of that. It's not that. Don't think Alistair is constantly having electronic music dance rave. You've decided to get a Guinness. May I ask why?
Well, don't know if you remember, I rang in to say I'd had a call from a friend who was very dubious about it, and I had a strong reaction after the call about that. And then it was the next session was due to have last Wednesday, and I kind of got up and I thought, nah, I'm not up for it today. So I cancelled. And then I've thought about it over the weekend, and it's going the way, if I'm honest, that of all the other counselling stuff I've attempted, that I get a few sessions in, and then I get cold feet. Now what I think that is, in my case, is I suppose fear, really. Fear of revisiting, like you were talking about, PTSD stuff. I mean, fear of going back to that stuff. Not the stuff that I remember consciously, but maybe other stuff that's in my subconscious, if you know what I mean.
Mm. So you're afraid of looking at that stuff again? Yeah.
And I think, well, and then I start to sort of say to myself things like, well, at the end of the day, I'm still here. I've survived it. Yes, my life could have been different, but it is what it is. And, things could be much worse. But I don't know. I mean, I've always had this sort of in CBT terms, this mission statement in life, which is a little bit sad in some ways. Never get involved with anybody, because the only time that you got involved in the past, you got burnt. So that went through my life with relationships and sometimes with friendships and sometimes with getting involved in stuff that activities or jobs. But hey, you know, that's I guess who I am, and
never get
I've done good
involved
stuff as well. So
never get involved.
yeah.
That I hear that, and I feel a real sadness hearing that.
Yeah, well, that's how it's been in a way. And I suppose it's kind of a self-imposed loneliness, because of that mindset, and that was, I would say that was created due to circumstances, but I didn't have the I didn't have the balls to challenge it in myself and do different things.
It's interesting you say you didn't have the balls. Why do you think it's about having balls?
Well, I mean, for example, when I was being bullied at school, I look back and think I should have just cracked this guy one in the face and he might have stopped. I look back at whether I should have tried to instigate a relationship with certain women, and I didn't, because I thought there's no point, because, they'll reject me anyway. So I won't get to the point where I can be rejected and feel hurt again, I suppose.
You're not alone in that, certainly in that last one.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many women and possibly some men, but primarily women that I was madly attracted to and couldn't say anything to them, couldn't even speak to them, couldn't even go up and say hello to them, let alone ask them out. And I had regrets about it for a long time. Don't have any regrets about it now. I'm in a place where I'm very comfortable and very happy, and everything is going in the direction that it should be going in terms of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that's a really common thing, Alistair, to look back at. But my friend Mackenzie once joked years ago that when you die, and before they let you into heaven, they put on a VHS video of all the girls that would have kissed you if you'd have asked them. And and I think that's a big thing for a lot of people, that regret of, I should have. God, why didn't I ask such and such out when I was 20? Well, oh God. I think that's really common.
Yeah, it's and I would say even a couple of occasions where it was obvious it was kind of the girl asking me, really, in so many words.
Yeah.
I kind of rejected them.
Yeah,
no, I can't. And then, so I think it went from that fear of rejection into like a full blown policy of the never get involved stuff, which is to stand behind the wall.
But could that change?
Well, I mean, I suppose I don't know now, and this is why I mentioned about the counselling, because if the counselling is gonna threaten that position of never get involved, maybe my brain is kind of putting on the shutters and saying, nah, you don't want to go to this counselling.
Yeah, we're getting there. If the counselling could threaten that position of don't get involved, wow, there's the sentence. If the counselling could threaten that position of don't get involved. Threaten, that's a strong word.
Yeah.
You're scared the counselling could, in inverted commas, work.
I know. That would be dreadful, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be dreadful to be released from that cell and have the freedom to be yourself?
Yeah. This is it, man. This is it. I get confused so many times, but I go through these things in my mind, and then I persuade myself that life's okay. Really, it could be a lot worse. Which I know is like rationalisation, but
yeah, it could be a lot worse. But it could be
could be a lot better.
Well, it could be a lot better. It could be more complicated. It could be worse by having the freedom. You know, the freedom doesn't guarantee happiness, but I think being authentic makes it easier to. I am so much happier since I worked out that I'm bisexual, and then since I told people, right? And it was horrible it was horrible realization. It was in therapy about 3 years ago when I did some really intense therapy with a guy called Chip Summers, because I'd worked with him before over drugs and stuff. He did a lot of work with Russell Brand, if anyone wants to look him up. And then I had a really horrible I had a really horrible car crash, which I still hesitate to talk about now. I've never spoken about it. And so I went in to see him about this car crash because I couldn't function. I couldn't do anything. And in those sessions, he kind of, I remember, he may not have done, but I remember it as him going, well, what if you are bisexual? What would the problem be? And it dawned on me that, I've acted out with men and women, and that I probably am. And coming out and being able to say that stuff. Now, I'm not saying that's your issue. It was very freeing, right? And it took away a lot of the pain and a lot of the shame and a lot of the guilt, right? I still feel a lot of shame around my sexual behaviour with men, but I'm working on it. I'm not saying that's your issue at all. But what I am saying is you have got your own issues, not necessarily around your sexuality. So please don't think I'm focusing on that. No. But you've got your own issues that you could possibly be authentic about and go, actually, this is what is going on for me, and I don't need to live like this anymore. I can change it. We can change how we deal with our truths. We can hide them and suppress them, or we can come out and say, this is me. And if you don't like this, goodbye, unlucky. What am I trying to say? I'm not carrying around anywhere near as much shit as I was 3 or 4 years ago. Still got a lot of work to do, man alive, but I'm getting there. And you can get there if you choose to, or not.
I understand that, and I guess it's. I don't know how sometimes, because I am my own worst enemy, and so yeah. I mean, like you say, I mean, a lot of other people out there are probably going through this as well, to some
extent. But also, I'm saying that for identification, not to demean or diminish what you're going through, because I was thinking about lockdown and I hated it. This last 18 months has been horrible. It's been so much worse for other people. People have died and lost their jobs and all of that, and that's true. But it's also irrelevant to what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
My experience is my experience. Yeah. Your experience is your experience. Doesn't matter if there's the guy next door has had his legs blown off by a bomb. It's irrelevant to what you're going through.
Tis true, sir.
You're a good man, Alistair. And one day I think you're gonna understand that.
Well, I think that I'm making progress on that slowly. I do actually. I've given the online meetings a bit of a break, and I need to go back to those at some point. Are you still? How's your step work going? I suppose it took a break, did it?
I've got to do my sexual misadventure on my step 4. That's all I'm prevaricating around. So I'm going to do that hopefully this week. And then I need to book in with my sponsor to do my step 5 and read it to him. Actually, do you know what? It's a really good reminder. Haven't done as many meetings as I would like to have done. I'm not going to say should, because I don't think there is a should. But I need to up my meetings this coming week. So thank you for that, Alistair. I appreciate your indirect reminder that's what I need to do.
All right. Anyway, thanks for talking in.
Always a pleasure.
It's always helpful to listen.
Thank you, mate. Well, I'm going to be on for a little bit longer. It's my pleasure. I'm going to play a song, and then we're going to start gathering the gang for the. I had a great name for the Alan Bezic
round table.
Was it the round table or was it discussion? Yeah. Okay, Alan Bezic round table is coming up soon. Alistair, speak to you in a bit.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. Can we get the Discord in the chat? If you want to be part of the Alan Bezic round table, is that what I call? I thought I called it something much cleverer than this. Then go to the Discord and go into, thank you, Jimbo, go into well, you can type about it in the Alan Bezic fans, but if you go into the community hangout, that's where I am. I don't want to be in there at the moment. How do I leave? There we go, I left. Go into the community hangout and we'll be chatting, we'll be playing Alan Bezic live and pausing it and discussing it. Certainly for half an hour or so. I've got to get to bed at some point because I'm going into London tomorrow, in central London, for the first time since March of 2020 when COVID broke. Oh, so that's what I was saying about PTSD. So I think the Beatles had it. And it dawned on me yesterday, or maybe the other day, that we as a human race are quite potentially suffering, or will suffer if we're not now, from PTSD because of what has been going on since those who had their ears open November 2019, certainly more specifically in this country, March 2020. I think we as a race, as human beings, as English, British, UK, European, world people are having trauma. A lot of us, not everybody, some people come out fine. That's great. But I think there will be a lot of trauma, and it'll be interesting to see the world suffering from PTSD. Not just one person, but the world suffering from PTSD. That's a crazy thought. What song is this? Oh, no, I know what I want to play. Do you know, I don't know if this is an ADHD thing, but I played this song 25 times. I have a thing where if I listen to a song and I really, really like it, I play it again and again and again, and I'll go just one more time and then I'll play it another 10 times. I played this song 25 times on the way to college, and I just kept hearing something different, right? I've just been, every time I hear something different, the wonderful bass line, the harpsichord, it's not a flute, it's kind of like it's not quite a penny whistle. Anyway, and then at the end when the chorus keeps building and building and building and building, and you think they can't add that anything else, and then they add something else. I love this. Listen to that bass. Okay, so I talked over it. There we go. Have listened to this. lost jobs, who have only just managed to hang on to where they're living, who have whatever reason. So it started off, I wanted to go and do some 11 o'clock show style Vox Pops because I was jealous of Nico Omilana. And it's evolved to, actually, I want to find out what's going on. And we might do some funny stuff. You know, we might have a laugh. We might do some silly stuff. But I will probably bottle it. We might not film anything. I might bottle it completely. You know, that is a possibility. And we've discussed that. Gingerbeard Mark and I have said, if that happens, you know. But we're going to see. So that's why that is. That's a great song, The Association and Windy. Oh, my God. It is just, mwah. What a song. Everyone knows it's windy. Right. Let us... Oh, no, I know you're wondering, Dave, and I'm more than happy to answer it. We could be making an absolutely terrible mistake. I'm prepared to accept that. Let's go into the Discord lounge. It's the Discord lounge of Bezic, and I believe Dave and Pete are there already. Hello, gentlemen. What did I call this Alan Bezic listen along earlier? I had a really good name.
It was a round table.
It was a round table.
That's a crap name.
You liked it at the time.
I know, but I'm an idiot. I'm going to an anti-lockdown rally tomorrow, and the potentially upsetting my friends. You know, it's I don't know nothing. Me. All right. We'll only do a bit of this because I've got to. I think I might have to iron a shirt, despite me ironing all of those shirts. I think I forgot to iron a shirt tomorrow. I'm going to wear a suit. Now, Alan was on last night. I fell asleep like 45 minutes into it, but I believe that Pete, you had issues with it.
Yeah, I really struggled with what I heard of last night's show.
Go on.
It was just loads of like anti-vaxxers and just. I think there might have been at least one racist in there. It was just stuff that, and you know, Bezic is often not very good at challenging people.
Right.
Like he picks his battles, I think. And last night it felt like he was letting a lot of stuff slide, which certainly you wouldn't have done, for instance.
Got done. I don't think it was an Ofcom. It might have been. It was certainly a BBC upheld, which is slightly less meaningful than an Ofcom. But he got done in that slot for, I think, letting a paedophile talk too long about being a paedophile.
Was it Trevor? If you need to legally distance yourself from that comment, please.
I'm just thinking, do I online? I don't think I do. Which makes it even worse.
I'm sorry. I'm not.
But then I heard a call in one of the old Alan Bezics, and we will start doing the ABAs again soon, where it was the daughter of a paedophile was on defending him, her dad, and I thought he took a very lax approach then. It wasn't just that he was sympathetic to her. He was kind of sympathetic to her dad. If anyone knows which episode that was in, then send it to me and we'll play it and be horrified.
Well, I mean, the Smith says at least he called out the guy who was transphobic. I didn't feel like he adequately did. If it's the same guy I'm thinking of. But
Pete, I am sending you to Woke Watch on GB News because your alarm clock goes off all the frickin' time. You're so awake. I need to.
I'm hoping they do the thing a lot of people do of put an extra I in my surname, and then I can send it to GB News Fails.
Oh well, but which we now think GB News Fails was done by GB News.
Well, yeah, I mean, Robin Ince tweeted something about this earlier on in the week, suggesting that maybe. But yeah, the way they because they folded it this morning for some reason.
Yeah.
But the way they did it, they kind of said, with thanks to us, GB News has had a reach of like 32 million or something. I don't know where they get these numbers from.
Yeah.
Half the population are aware of GB News, and you just go, yeah. I mean, this was kind of what I said all along, but the possibility it might be a proper PR
Dave,
company
did you hear
thing.
that? He had to do it. Of course, this is what I've been saying all along.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that outrageous? I fell asleep about 45 minutes into Bezic, but me and my eldest were pissing ourselves at the first caller who couldn't make his mind up about Boris Johnson, then wanted to get Theresa May back in. We said that we should have a vote and get Theresa May back in, I think was his argument. And I found that very entertaining. Let's go live to the BBC. And he's probably... Oh, hang on.
Much-loved park have been left heartbroken after thieves stole
you can't hear that,
roses.
can you? You can't hear that. That reminds me. So I have to do it on the laptop. Okay, so we'll do this for a bit. BBC Sounds. Let's go on this one. Go here and here. So yeah, this might be a little shorter one tonight, but I actually quite like the idea of doing this through a whole show one night. If you guys are up for it. Guys?
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
Hello, guys.
Times in an effort to make a difference to the hospital which saved her husband's life.
Oh, okay.
Mel Foster's.
Okay, good luck, Mel Foster, with whatever it is you're doing with the hospital that saved your husband's life. That's why BBC local radio should be closed down. Dave, did you hear last night's show? I wonder what your thoughts. By the way, I can't believe we're doing this as though it's like a proper. But PMQs is coming on. Well, I'm joined PMQs. I'm joined by Pete and Dave. Dave, did you hear last night's show?
No, I'm afraid I'm the equivalent of just the guy off the street who doesn't know what's going on.
Okay, well, here we go.
You're like the fifth chair on questions.
You can hear this, right?
When the whistle goes, you're disappointed, but I think want it to be through.
Turn that down. It's sports are on at the moment. What do you, Pete? I hope this doesn't put you in an uncomfortable position. I wonder what your thoughts were when we go into an anti-lockdown rally.
I think it's brave. I think I'm hoping. I think. If you manage to get the right people and are able to do it in the right way, then it'll be a really interesting and good piece of video to have.
And if we don't,
I don't. Well, I don't. It's not. I don't think it's going to be easy to engage with them properly.
That in itself would tell us something, though. That in itself, if they don't want to engage, if they go, oh, it's a twat in a suit, you're the mainstream media, or whatever, that in itself would be revealing. I think for me, less is going to be more. I need to do very, very little.
Yeah.
For fear of getting my head kicked in, that is a concern. And for fear of provoking them. Here comes the Smiths. I think I have to do less than I would perhaps expect to have to do, and see what comes out. It could be a disaster. I don't think there's going to be any violence. I honestly don't think that's going to be the case. I would not go to a place where I thought there was
No, I don't think you'll get physically abused. I think you might get some verbal abuse. But...
I love it. That actually makes me horny. Right, I've paused. So let's have a little listen. Hello, the Smiths.
Hello. How are you?
Hello. We're good. Here we go. We're going into Alan Bezic, BBC Manchester. This is live, but I've just paused it. His opening monologue, which I normally skip. I skip. I don't care about his monologues. I think they're awful. I don't listen to the song. I just skip to the thing. But here we go. Let's go in.
There's Nicola Sturgeon.
Sorry?
How do? That was me doing his awful song.
Why were you doing that? That was terrible.
That's a bit terrifying.
What was that? I thought we were being hacked. Visionary Super's joined us in at the round table. Hello, Visionary Soup.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
May I ask, what is your history with Alan Bezic? Oh, no, I saw you in the Alan Bezic fans chat last night, of course.
Yeah, I was in there, yeah.
Are you a regular Bezic babe? I made myself laugh, and I dared myself to say it, and I did.
Only recently, since you've mentioned it, I started to listen just on and off. I would dip into it and out of it.
Okay, we're all Bezic babes. Here we go. Let's dive in. With Alan. First of all, where is that intro from? It's awful.
It's really bad.
It's bad. It's got really bad hiss on it, so it's obviously very, very old. The Beswick thing at the end, I don't get it. I think it's a lame start to the show.
So if you're from Manchester or Salford, or if you live in Manchester or Salford and you go to Scotland, then as far as Nicola Sturgeon is concerned, you're a naughty person. Which reminds me of Keats, the poet. There was a naughty boy.
Here's one of his songs.
A naughty boy was he. He ran away to Scotland, the people there to see. And then he found that the ground was as hard, that a yard was as long, that a song was as merry, that a cherry was as red, that lead was as weighty, that 80 was of 80, that a door was as wooden as in England. So he stood in his shoes and he wondered. He wondered! He stood in his shoes and he wondered. Then he sneezed and everybody ran away. I added the last bit. Good evening.
It wasn't as good. How are you?
That was they're not great starts, his shows.
No.
I'm Alan Beswick. This is the Alan Beswick Late Night Phone In. If you want to join us, you can. The telephone number with which to do so is 0800 218 2255. We're right across the northwest on the 3 BBC stations in the area, and that is, of course, Merseyside, Lancs and Manchester. And, well, I keep thinking, I've been thinking about this for 3 or 4 days now. Every time I think of it, it makes me feel, yeah, that's funny. It's the funniest thing I've seen all week. And it was a 2.5 years old girl.
Oh, so hang on. So that Nicola Sturgeon thing, that's that done now?
Looks like it.
That's it. That was just he does, if you listen to him stuff in the 80s, he's a socialist, and I think he may even say it. If he doesn't say it, he really hints at it. And as we get older, we become kind of more right wing, and that's fine. And he seems to move that way. But I still get he's quite left. But every now and then he will have pops at who I consider the wrong targets, like Nicola Sturgeon thing. He's a strange person to fathom out, isn't he?
He, from what I understand, is he doesn't have much time for Boris at all.
Right.
And he kind of doesn't believe the Labour Party at the moment talks to the North. And a few weeks ago, he invited people to come on and talk about how they could restore power in the North. And I think he's a big fan of Andy Burnham and what he's doing up there.
Right. Okay, let's find out about this 2-year-old girl. I'm slightly nervous, but...
Little baby girl using a cloth to dry a wet garden table. It had been a beautiful day and there was a sudden downpour. The table had a little indentation in it, metal one, and there was water on it. So people were stood around chatting and she was using this cloth to wipe the table. Her level of concentration was stunning. I want you to consider the image of a top chess player battling it out against another one for the World Championship. That's the level of concentration this little girl sort of demonstrated, radiated. And after a while, she clearly realised that the cloth simply was not big enough for the job. You or I would have either thought, sod it, or we'd have thought, I need a bigger cloth, and would have gone inside and got one. No.
The funniest thing
pulled her
all week.
dress over her head.
Oh, hang on. Yeah.
Also, how long was he watching this girl for?
Well, hang on. Is this I'm assuming this has come from a news story. Are you thinking this comes from his own life?
I wonder if David just found someone's garden.
Yeah, the way he's talking about it does seem to be live.
Just randomly watching someone.
I don't think it's live as he's watching it now, Pete.
No, but you know what I mean. Sort of, he was there live watching it in person.
Okay.
And then he's like, after a while, she decided.
Well, let's find out. Let's see when this incident happened and what the F is going on.
I'm happy to say that this was not on the news.
With that, what you might call lateral thinking at its best. Her mum, her dad, her aunts her uncles had to run into the house so as not to have her think they were laughing at her.
Hang on, what happened? We missed it. Hang on.
He pulled her summer dress over her head and then finished mopping up the water. With that,
he's opened a show with this. Unless he's got some thing that ties this into, a weakness of all humanity.
Or Nicola Sturgeon.
No, this is a piss poor opening.
Might call lateral thinking at its best. Her mum, her dad, her aunts, her uncles had to run into the house so as not to have her think they were laughing at her, which they purely were. It can only be described as pure, innocent magic.
Oh!
0800 218.
Oh, he's not even playing It's a Kind of Magic. He's playing Brown Eyed Girl.
And sucklings.
He didn't describe her eyes in the monologue, Alan.
He said he's been thinking about that for 2 to 3 days.
Jesus.
Funniest thing he's seen all week. So my question, based on that, is Alan Bezic living or merely existing?
Sounds like he's living his best life.
Jesus.
That's all he's had to worry about for the last 3 days, and he's doing okay.
Who is this girl? We've got to find this girl. I don't believe this happened. And he's playing Van Morrison, who is problematic these days as well. Okay, here we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, hang on, let's jump forward a bit. Oh, there we go. Who's going to be the first caller?
Trevor.
Trevor's never first. Trevor always comes on after 11:30. Could be. I reckon we're going to get an early Shafiq.
You'll have to go home with the evidence of green grass stains on your knees and elbows. Oh. And they don't come out, I am told. Anyway, stop it. 0800.
That's a sex
He's
reference.
been on the afternoon beers.
He's... he's just made a sex joke, right? Grass stains, or so I'm told. Stop it. That's sex. It's outdoor sex. Listen to this.
Making love in the green.
Oh, he's talking about it. Sorry, this is the thing. It's quarter past, and we're only 8 minutes into the show, so I apologise. Here we go. Right. Here we go.
Just on Dave's question, I don't think he drinks, does he?
No, he doesn't. Doesn't. As you know, Pete, he doesn't put poison in his body.
Well, quiet.
Van Morrison, Brown Eyed Girl, and there's that line towards the end of that, making love in the green grass.
If you know that line's in there, why put it on after the story about the 2-year-old girl?
Oh,
just don't do it, Alan. Oh God! Visionary Soup. If you want to leave this awful chat at any moment, please just do it. This is descending into something I really don't want to be a part of, but I will be for a bit longer.
Sounds interesting. Allow me to tell you, you'll have to go home with the evidence of green grass stains on your knees and elbows, and they don't come out, I am told.
Elbows? Why would you have grass stains on your elbows if you are making love in the grass? Thinking of all connotations, and I'll have to draw some pictures in a bit.
Anyway, stop it. 0800 218 2255.
Sorry?
I guess he likes to be on the bottom.
Yeah, okay, so they're doing reverse cowgirl, right? But why has he got grass stains on his elbows?
Because he's like got his arms up, like holding her in place.
Yeah,
and his elbows are touching the ground.
He's got long arms. Okay, we got there.
Yeah.
If you wish to join us, you can pick up your phone, have your say, talk about absolutely anything. We really don't mind. Kirsty's new. How do Kirsty?
New caller alert! New caller. Okay. Tricked us. Let's see what Kirsty's got. I wonder if she... Quite often when he gets new women callers, they're drunk. So let's see.
Hello, Alan. Can't actually believe I've plucked up the courage to phone you, actually, because I listened to you when I'm a teenager. I'm now 50 and I'm just phoning you for the first time.
All right.
Because I just heard you talk about Nicola Sturgeon there.
Yes.
And I was brought up near Arnside, a place called Silverdale.
I know it.
Ended up... Yep. Yeah, ended up in Scotland. Mum and Dad were both Scottish, came back up.
Very Scottish.
Very
Scottish.
And
That's a little bit
I feel
touchy.
like she's trapping
Yeah.
us up here, have to say, at the moment. I know the Manchester situation is awful and, nobody wants to spread COVID, but it's I feel she's making it uncomfortable for us up here at the moment. And, it's quite timely that you started your show with that, because I just feel that I can't get down to see my mum without feeling guilty. Haven't been down south for a year and a half now. And, it's funny, because I've always felt very welcome up here, but the last year and a half, I've really changed.
Gatford, nice to see you. Mac UK 1183, hello. Goodbye. Thought so. Hello, Gatford.
Hello. I've just been playing board games with friends, so I've just joined in.
Can we kick him?
We can.
Well, no, I mean, I'm allowed. I was promoting the show while I was doing it.
Is that, Gatford, is your picture, is that me?
Yeah, that's me and you at Hyde Park.
Okay.
Friends.
Sorry, hasn't everybody on here got a picture of them with Ian Lee?
My profile pictures.
Wow. I mean, I thought this was an Ian Lee.
Mobile phones didn't
Discord,
exist.
so.
I've been told that. Stewpot's coming in. Hang on. Hello, Stewpot. Hello, Stewpot. I only got Stewpot today. It's a pot of stew. I only got it. Isn't that sad? Yeah, it's a pot of stew. I just thought it was like a funny word to say to someone who's called Stuart. All right, Stewpot. I just thought it sounded good. But it's a pot of stew, delicious stew. Stew.
Pot of muted stew.
Stew is muted at the moment. We don't know why. Okay.
Change the way I feel about living up in Scotland now.
Really?
Yeah.
So Nicola Sturgeon's comment in the past 48 hours about, the COVID virus is so bad or it's growing quickly in this area, Greater Manchester and the northwest of England. That's the straw that brought the camel's back, or is it just that one incident?
No, I think it just represents the way I think she's played cat and mouse a bit. I mean, I'm not a Boris fan either. Definitely not a Boris.
I'm not a Boris fan, but...
fan, and I think she's dealt with the situation well. I think she's gained a lot of fans through this all who maybe didn't support her before.
That's what this was about, getting more fans.
Yeah.
But go on.
I didn't realise Nicola Sturgeon had an OnlyFans page.
Get more fans and push for independence.
It does make. She does. I mean, this woman obviously doesn't like her, and that's fine. But surely she was doing that stuff to, I don't know, save lives. And if people then started liking her because of it, that's okay, isn't it? Unless she created COVID just for the excuse, so that she could become more popular. I don't know.
Definitely think she's
doing it to get enough Twitter followers that she can get verified.
Worse, and every little thing that she says, I just feel like she's making more of an issue between England and Scotland. Everything she says, I think she's playing a bit of a political game, really.
Well, she's a politician. That's kind of what they do, isn't it? But is it not inevitable?
Very clever.
Is it not inevitable that because...
I got a feeling, Pete, this is going to be another show that's going to wind you up.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what resignation sounds like.
She very definitely wants independence from the UK, that she takes every opportunity to, if you like, poke a finger at the UK and say, look what you're doing, or the rest of the UK, England particularly.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that's what she's doing with everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's dealt with it very well, but underlying it all, everything's been a week after Boris has said it. Whether you believe in what Boris has said or not, everything's been a week later. She listens to him, and
remember, this woman doesn't like Boris, guys.
It should have been a time where we all get together, and everybody's.
Well, we're not meant to be getting together. That's the thing.
It's the exact opposite of it.
But it isn't, is it? We are socially distancing, so we're not getting together. Hugging is
Alan
the
stole
same.
my joke there.
This is great. We are tuned into the Bezic frequency
for Scotland. Whether
We're like
it's
the
right
red
for the
button
rest of the
for Bezic.
With the Bezic
yeah, no, I
babes.
mean, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that she should have been saying free movement and everybody travel around, because that wasn't the right thing. But it's very difficult. It's difficult to explain when you don't actually live here.
It's difficult to explain when you haven't got a clue what your argument is. You just don't like her.
I think she's made the divide more prominent than it should have been.
It's always been like that.
Yeah.
And it's really hard, Alan. It's hard to explain when you. It's hard because I've lived
that moved
here
on quickly.
now since I was 18, and I love it. I love Scotland, but I'm petrified about another referendum and us becoming independent. I really am.
You're frightened.
Is petrified the right word?
Well, if you can't tell her what word she needs to be saying, Gary.
Well, only that. I mean, you could be concerned about a Scottish referendum. Why would you be petrified?
She lives there, doesn't she?
Yeah. If you listen, maybe we'll find out.
Carry on, sir.
Thank you very much indeed. I accept your apology.
Pardon?
You're frightened to. You're frightened of what I might call independence.
Yeah, I really am. And I've got friends up here who didn't vote for independence last time, who are now saying that they will the second time, and I just think it's edging nearer. And I think just things like the Manchester things come about. I mean,
I bet this woman supported Brexit. She sounds like Brexit.
It's just that little
Lady Brexit
undercurrent with everything she says all the time.
She was afraid, and now she's petrified.
Yeah.
Oh,
well done, well played,
to make
well
people
played.
think that we could just be on our own, you know.
And do you think they cannot in Scotland?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. It's a lovely idea, but we're not Denmark, we're not Norway. Economically, I think it would be a disaster, Alan. I really do.
We're not Denmark,
really
we're not Norway.
No, they're
Pretty sure she's in Scotland.
The UK, we're better and stronger together. Brexit, look what's happened with Brexit. We don't need another big mess. We're better off together, but I know I'm biased.
Well, here we go. I've just had a Google alert. I'm on a Google alert. And Google alerts. Bradley Walsh threatens to kick contestant off The Chase over rule break. Well, it's my episode of The Chase they've just shown again. And the Daily Express has got a story out of it. It's incredible scenes. Anyway, sorry, interrupt.
Biased, aren't I? Because I'm living up here and, I'm biased.
Indeed.
But
Fair enough. Good on you, Kirsty. Thank you very much indeed.
Why does Alan get such terrible callers politically? Like other stations, they hold a really good political conversation.
And he summed up the whole.
I mean, he does. This is the last of these phone-ins. I know a lot of you have looked elsewhere. This is the last of these type of phone-ins, and I guess people get attracted to it because where else are they going to go? They won't get on 5 Live onto a phone-in on 5 Live. This is it.
And did I just hear Keith using the dreaded word wokeism?
I heard him say constipation.
The Roman toilet, there's 20 people at a time because of the way it's all laid out. Of course, there's no cubicles or anything like that in them days, And the Romans ate honey as a constipation cure.
Any evidence that it worked or didn't?
No, afraid not. Last one to now.
Spouting shite.
Now we've got there. We've got some classic for those new to Bezic. We've got some classic Bezic stuff going on there. First of all, Bezic not listening, typing away. What do you think he types? He's like, is he writing a book or something? Because he's probably getting 2 or 3 chapters out a night with the amount of typing that he does.
Are you just writing down the good lines for a book?
Yeah, or I'm pretty sure he does a bit of research and looks up the news article, whatever they're talking about, and then says what he thinks it says.
Well, Keith's talking about Romans having a shit. Is he? Is he
I
good?
think he's playing Words with Friends.
And then also, I like.
It's much darker. Maybe it's best to don't give it.
I like Keith's calls, but I don't know why he does them. And it's interesting, isn't it? And you will have heard people callers to shows that have that have a turn, that have their party piece, and they stick to their party piece. I thought when Daryl Morris sat in for Alan, I thought he got quite a lot out of Keith that was actually quite interesting. But Keith feels he has to do this. Here's some facts, and I've only half got them learned, and I've probably got them wrong anyway. Have this, I'll be off. It's a very strange little piece.
9 police officers were suspended because they arrested 19 staff at a burger place for not supplying free burgers. So I don't think what the charge is. But that were in Pakistan, by the way.
Hamburglary.
It wouldn't be ham, it's Pakistan.
If they were getting free burgers, then there was no charge.
Well, exactly. But they didn't get them. That's why they arrested them.
All right.
Yes.
Right then. All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Oh, Zach came. Zach, come back in. Oh.
Hello, Richard.
Do you remember the Omar bombing in 1998 in North Ireland?
Wow. Do you remember the Omar bombing in 1998 in Ireland? That is...
Get the sense there's something going on with this caller.
Yeah, that's an opening. That's
yesterday.
An opening.
Sure, he was on yesterday.
He has. This guy started calling a few times, and it's. I remember. I didn't hear him yesterday.
Doesn't he start most calls with "Do you remember"?
Yeah, it's a "Do you remember?" Hey, I tell you my favourite caller, and he doesn't call as often now, and he's normally on quite late. Arnold. Do you know who I mean?
What are you talking about, Willis?
He's the guy who's obviously had some sort of brain injury. And speaking of brains, Alan, what's your brain? What's your brain? Have you read a book, Alan? What was the last book you? It's funny them books. How do they think they write them books, Alan? You've been into a shop. What was the last shop you went into? That guy who he's obviously had some sort of brain injury, and it's pure stream of consciousness stuff. And he will ask a question, and then either a word in that question or a word in the reply sends him off on a tangent. It is fascinating. Have you heard it, The Smiths?
Yeah, I think I know who you mean. He calls maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks.
Right, he used to call a lot, and Alan is really, really gentle with him, and he can be a little bit annoying sometimes. It is, I find it fascinating because I don't know what he talks about going to university and stuff. So I don't know what has happened, whether it was an injury or a disease or an illness or something, but something has buggered up the wiring in there, and he just follows these lines. It's incredible. Anyway, that's not this guy.
Do I remember the bombing?
The Omar one in North.
The Omar bomb. I do remember the Omar bomb. Yeah, a particularly nasty one.
Yeah. When you end up mixing those from the Sundays mixing those to the people news.
Yeah.
Do you think that was right what they said, like giving people mixing those going near the bomb? Or was it a bit stupid telling people that the government, the police, to tell that going near the bomb?
It's hard to know because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, really, when you're trying to deal with terrorism.
Well, it's for me, when you're talking about terrorism, there's really only one person I've ever seen who can cope with a bomb threat particularly well.
Let's get the bloody thing going.
And that is not to make light of what they're talking about, but JR, who just sat it out and smoked fags and looked at a clock.
Do we know what he did after he left the Pleasure Beach? Could he be working for MI5?
We watched the other night, Catherine and I watched that other Blackpool Pleasure Beach program where we saw a bit of it with that blue comedian, and it was really interesting. We're probably not going to show it on stream because it is a little bit sweary. It was really interesting, and there were some really good bits in it, but then there was also some, I don't know what you call it, augmented reality, where they kind of faked some stuff. John Thompson introduces it and says, we're following their lives, and every now and then we've added something to make it a little bit more interesting. And yeah, I just thought, You don't need to do that. You can let's just watch a blue comic in Blackpool, a fella that runs a bingo hall and has fallen in love with a woman in Thailand, and let's just watch that. It's worth watching, but we probably won't show it on the stream.
And
so you need to check out The Marriage, the thing that I found the other week.
Yes. Let me write that on the whiteboard.
As well, BBC4 are reshowing the original The Cruise that launched Jane McDonald this week.
Oh, are they?
Really?
They are, yeah. It's 7:30, because my mum likes Jane McDonald, so I looked it up for her. So 7:30 this week, they're reshowing the original Cruise, which I think was one of the very first reality shows.
Pete, can I ask, Pete, of course, of What's on the Tapes fame. It wasn't. The Family, I would suggest, is the first reality show.
Okay. I said one, but I wasn't.
But also, I think those things are documentaries. I think, anyway. Pete, do you still tape stuff?
No.
Okay, we move on.
People, how they might best behave. What's your thought on it?
I think the stupid doing the people the one device, like they just donate the house, the national house where it's first sorted out, and go back to the normal place. But the bomb.
I don't know enough about Omar. I don't remember it to know exactly what they're talking about here.
Telling them to go to the first place at the first time, and then tell them to move them back. You know what I mean?
Well, I know what you mean, yeah, but it's difficult to know what is the right thing to do. We've just had the report into the bombing at the arena in Manchester, where many people lost their lives and many more were injured.
Yeah.
And one of the things that went on there was the emergency services, some of them, were prevented from going in because they thought there might be another bomb. And the consequence of that may well be that people who were injured might have survived had they got treatment more quickly. So you could argue, I'm not arguing, but I'm suggesting it is possible that people died because of the rules that were given. But had the emergency service bosses said, OK, get in there, persons, get in there and do your worst and do your best and save as many as you can, and when they're in there another bomb went off, then they'd have been held to pay, because lots more people would have lost their lives when it could have been fewer. So it's very difficult to say what is the right thing to do. It's easy looking backwards and saying this is what you should have done, but you don't know at the time. You've only got what is before you.
Yeah,
he said similar last night.
Yeah.
Say that again.
He said similar to another caller last night.
This is a slow opening to the show. This is it's tough, and you're kind of beholden to the callers that you get. A good presenter can weave a little bit of gold out of a very thin piece of thread, but these are two very flat calls.
There's no way past that. It's just how it is.
Sorry, was there an
I
inquiry?
just looked Omar up.
Not Omar Sharif, Gatford.
No, not Omar Sharif. No, the Omar. Telephone warnings were sent 40 minutes beforehand, but police inadvertently moved people towards the bomb because of some fake information. I think that's what they were doing.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But that's Wikipedia, so take it with a pinch of salt.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, did you say that's Wikipedia or Wikipedia? Because I would trust
They would
one
have been
over
more
the
kind
other.
of like if it was Wikipedia.
Googleford.
Burning pub in United States.
The Birmingham boy.
Oh, he's moved on to Birmingham now. Flipping heck.
The Birmingham pub bombing,
Alan
yes.
did.
Yeah, when someone not one of you choose, then the same state not one of you choose, and beat him up in the police cell word every time.
Well, lots of things went on at that time. I don't know whether the people who were accused of planting the bomb were beaten up in the cells. They were certainly given a very, very hard time. I don't mean physically. They were badgered.
Giving a very stern talking to.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can understand.
Naughty.
Like mentally abused or like
well,
that.
it's very difficult.
I wonder why this guy is so interested. Let's put it.
He's
that
always
way.
fascinated by crime.
Right.
Questioning something.
Maybe he's planning, and he just wants to get everything, all the rough edges smoothed
then
out.
You are going to press your questions. It's not, it's not tiddlywinks. They are going to press their questions, and some people will find that emotionally disturbing, particularly if they are innocent of what they are being accused. But you can't just gently say, well, did you do it? No, I didn't. All right, okay then. You've got to press a little more than that.
Got to press a little more than that.
Challenging, and so be it. Many might say. But good on you, Richard. Good. Sorry, go on.
No.
What's your third about the interest into the matter?
That. Oh God, that was his. He should have cut him off then. He didn't.
And so about what's your third about all the fine, about the fine engines and the police just doing nothing and letting no through to the.
It's a strange thing. It's a strange conversation in the chat. Sloop John B says, been listening to a lot of old school Howard Stern recently. And then Alfino replies, I regularly listen to his show on 9/11, which is an incredible time capsule. How regularly are you listening to his show on 9/11? I bet it's an incredible listen.
I've listened to it once.
Right.
But I wouldn't ever go back now having listened to it.
Was he broadcasting when it was on?
Yeah. And he's in the middle of New York. I mean, he's got people ringing up with very good eyes on what's going on.
Good eyes.
It's an interesting piece, but it's not something I would say you would necessarily want to go back to.
Okay.
A lot.
Actually, I'm kind of interested. Pete.
For me, it's not Christmas unless I've heard the Weird Al, the Howard Stern. I bucketed it up. Just.
Do you want to try it again, or should we just move
so
on?
I said what I said.
Edit that bit out.
Yeah, we'll cut that bit out, and we'll get a professional actor in to revoice it for you, Pete.
Yeah.
Don't worry, mate. Don't worry.
Rena, what's your third about it?
I understand the decision of the management of the fire service to say you are not going to go in because there may be another bomb and you could be blown to smithereens. Many years ago, when I first came to the BBC, and in those days there were all sorts of bombings going on all over the place. And
like the 92, 96 one.
Bombings.
He knows all of the bombings.
Warrington was bombed.
It's like getting Dave on to talk about the Beatles. Huh?
Do you think he's been in a bombing?
I don't know.
If we are ever told to
Can you imagine if you went on Mastermind? What's your specialist subject? Bombings.
Yeah.
Bombings.
I don't want a terrorist to tell me what to do, and it's my life. And they said, no, it's not your life. It's ours when you're working, and our job is to protect you. And if we say you're going out of the studio, you are. And so occasionally, when it happened to me once, you would be evacuated from the building because there was a serious threat, and nothing happened. And that was common to radio stations and television stations all over the country. And the bosses were doing what they have to do, and that is to protect their staff and the public. But in hindsight, you think they could have left us in there. What would have happened?
No,
Nothing.
JR, couldn't they?
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to make the decision that is right at the time. And
I mean, why leave the building for a fire alarm just in case there's not a fire? I mean, you know.
I'll be honest. I do begrudge leaving for a fire alarm.
Well, I'm a fire warden. I don't.
Oh, come on, man! You've been in Tesco or something, and the alarm's gone off, and you've just carried on shopping,
haven't.
right?
No.
Flipping hell, of course, Gatford's a bloody firewall.
I'm here to protect you, Pete.
Oh,
Someone
maybe
do
I
a
should not talk at all then, because I'm a fire warden.
Oh no! Can someone? I can never do these. Can someone do like a Fireford or a Wardenford thing? I'm never quick enough to do them. We've got two, please. You're a hang on. You're a fire warden as well. My God.
Yeah.
What does that involve?
Well, I keep track of visitors. I work in a school, so I'm kind of like support. So part of my job is to make sure that people have evacuated when they're supposed to.
Are you the person who says if this was a real fire, you'd all be dead by now?
Yes.
Yep.
Can I just say, in the chat, I expected so much more from Catherine. Catherine Boyle says, Gatford bums alarms. Homophobia and alarmophobia and bumophobia from Catherine Boyle.
That's just mentioning bumming is not homophobia.
No,
Great people
mentioning Gatford is.
Yeah, fair enough.
We have the suggestion of Hoseford.
Oh, no, you're not allowed to use extinguishers anymore. You're encouraged to leave that to the fire service now. This is all going in my next report.
We now have to follow up. It's not homophobia, it's gatphobia.
Gatphobia.
It's the official term for it.
Let's move on. We don't want any gatphobia.
But do you time people and go 6 minutes? We need to beat that next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catherine
Although
says...
I'm missing that because I'm not on site. I don't get to do it anymore, so I just do it at home on my own.
Catherine says 999ford. I don't know if that's particularly catchy, but let's. There's a new caller. Let's move on.
If you want to join us, you can pick up your phone, have your say. In the meantime, we'll enjoy the Stones.
Lack of callers. All right, he does play more music at the weekends now, doesn't he? We can skip past that because.
Now we got Sketty saying that he was a fire warden. What is it about you that attracts this kind of person?
He has to have one.
We attract bumlickers.
Ian?
Hello?
I just wanted to ask you a question. Is there anything that a producer wouldn't put through a switchboard?
What do you mean, for example?
So, for instance, when you get asked on a switchboard, sort of like what you want to talk about, would there be anything that they'd say, sorry, we don't want to sort of discuss that?
It depends. It depends. Most shows, they do that you're phoning in because of the question they're asking. I can't think of any show apart from Basic now where it's phone in about anything. And you can get past that on Basic. When I phoned up, I think I said I wanted to talk about... the effect of lockdown or something, because I didn't know what I was going to say. So you can just say anything. But most shows, it will, they'll be asking, do you think Boris Johnson's doing a good job? And if you phone up and say, I want to talk about, wagon wheels, they won't put you through. When Catherine was taking the calls, she would always put everybody through. And I would always, if I had a different phone op or a producer, I'd always say, if they normally wouldn't get on, then put them to the front of the queue, please. I will have that. Let's just see the next one. I'm going to go to bed in a minute. Let's do one more caller.
Incidentally, I told the producer I wanted to talk about eggs. I was honest.
There you go. Well done.
That was a tune. Listen on the phone. It was like being on dial-a-disc when I was a kid. You used to listen on the phone to the records. That was fantastic for Sunday night.
God, that's going back a bit, isn't it?
It is going back a bit. Yeah. Listen, I've rang in. I want to do a couple of very short poems for you.
He's excitable.
People doing poetry, but they're 4-line. One of them's a limerick.
It's on 1.5.
Why does he want to do poetry? That never works.
God, I'd say there's another caller. She phoned in last night. There's an old woman who always tries to be funny, and she tells a few gags. And
Linda,
is it Linda? I can't remember her name. She's quite old, and she did. What did she? Oh, I can't remember what she said.
And I'll fire them off for you if that's all right.
If you're limerick, surely it's 5 lines.
Well, it's 5 lines, the second one, but the first one's 4 lines. And before you ask, yes, I wrote them. If I didn't, my publisher's in lumber. So do you want to hear them? You'll like them. They're funny.
Well, I'll be the judge of that, but go on.
First one goes like this. I'm not saying maybe I was an ugly baby, but everyone said to me, Ma'am, oh, what a lovely pram.
We had that one last night.
Yeah, that's because it was me.
He's recycling his own material.
Same call every night.
He's phoning up and doing it again.
I was on Merseyside doing it. Yeah, that
faster
was me.
than yesterday, I'm pretty sure.
I've wrote this from a lovely summer's day, but I put you in it. So this one's for you. It goes like this.
Here we go.
The garden mowers were merrily mowing. The cans of Stella were steadily flowing. The sun lit the sky.
He's copied the tune off of the Sugar Puffs guy. What's the guy's name? the sugar
Honey Monster.
Yeah, the Honey Monster. But there was the guy, the poet, John Cooper Clarke.
John Cooper Clarke was never the Honey Monster.
He was in the Sugar Puffs adverts for a while.
You learn something every day.
Yeah, I don't because
I'm sure he was the posh kind of straight guy in it, wasn't he?
No, he was the big-haired Scottish guy or Manchester guy. Not Scottish.
He's from Manchester.
Yeah, that's why I corrected myself. Okay.
And the mood was real high till Bezic played Leonard Cohen. And I like Leonard Cohen.
That was it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't go for this bit that he darkens the mood. I think he lightens it.
I think
with his
fantastic.
honesty.
Yeah. I think he was great, Leonard Cohen. Yeah, sadly missed. Never got to see him live. Did you ever see him live?
Yeah, about 5 times.
Oh, did you ever interview him?
No. In fact, one of my regrets, if you can have regrets in life, I don't know whether you knew Wilson.
Yeah, of course you can.
In Manchester.
It's regrets.
The great Wilson. Oh, no, you wouldn't. Anyway, he was Tony Wilson. I mean, of course, but he was.
Oh, right, Tony Wilson. Yeah, the soul fortune like myself.
I've never heard Tony Wilson referred to as Wilson.
An interview with Cohen, and it was because Cohen had a very small travelling art exhibition, and it was in Manchester. It visited the Northern Quarter, and Wilson rang me up and said, "Do you want to come?" And I couldn't. I was working. I was doing a show, and I could have met him. You know, I could have had dinner with him, and I was so cross.
You think Bezic knew Frank?
Sorry,
Bezic know Frank.
Phone him up and ask him, Gatford. But if you mention me, I'm going to put my fist in your hooter. Phone up and ask him.
Struggle.
Okay, but you're not going to hear it for a few hours.
No, well, I'll be going to bed in a second anyway. I probably won't hear it till next week.
He's not a comedian. Do you know what I mean? He's very serious when he's doing interviews because that was his shtick. So he doesn't do humour. Although I did hear him do a joke in Liverpool.
He was a fantastic lyricist. Huge influence on me, like a lot of the greatest lyricists of all
Jesus,
time. But anyway,
shut up, you
listen,
boring.
thanks for listening, Alan. It's lovely to talk to you. Top man.
And you, have a good night. Ta-ra.
Top man. Top man.
255. He talks about lyricists. Some of the greatest lyricists in the world was, of course, Ray Davies.
God, no one's calling in. Oh.
Even Trevor.
And you don't get better than the Kinks.
They're not playing, mate.
It might be too early.
How you'd find out.
Let's skip forward. Take one more caller, then it's Betty Buys for Ian Lee. Going up the Wooden Hill to Bedfordshire.
John Keane.
Oh, God, it's this guy. This is the guy who is blind, and he is rewriting the Bible to make it more understandable. And he's doing, I think he might be doing the Old Testament as well.
0800 218 2255. How do Mike?
Hello, and great to be with you again.
Oh! Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, with special guest is second time on the show, it's Ray Davies. Ray. Hello, Ian, it's great to be with you again. No, it's just some old caller. Flipping heck.
Alan, when you versified at the beginning of the programme, you introduced it as being Keats. Do you mean John Keats?
I do.
Well, that was the most un-Keatsian verse. I mean, it was clever and it was funny, but wow, what did you think? It was brilliant.
I learned it at my father's knee when I was a kid. My dad taught it me.
Can we time Sloop John B out, please? Never got the Kinks. That's a time out, please.
The 4th of 4. The 4th of 4, not the 4th of Clyde. It's the 4th of stories about this naughty boy, or poems about this naughty boy. But yes, it's Keats.
You don't really think of him as writing stuff like that, do you?
You don't, indeed, you do not. Very strange, but yes, I only found out a few years ago when I did it on the radio, and somebody said, "You do realise that's John Keats?" No, like you. No, how could it be?
No.
Sadly,
Anyway,
happily, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, next topic. Did you actually hear the Leonard, or were you actually present at the Leonard Cohen concert at Free Trade Hall, Manchester?
No.
Well, I think I'm in danger of repeating myself here, but it doesn't matter. You were talking about him as being not a very
I'm going to bed. This guy's getting on my nerves. If you want to pick up from where I left off, because we're a bit behind, it's 10:36 is the exact point that I've pressed the pause. If you're
going to say we're 10 minutes in. I was thinking that's
about
right.
We got a little bit further.
James.
We did skip 3 songs. Oh, flipping X, Stewpot! You've been here the whole time.
No, I don't know what was going on.
We're going now. It's bedtime.
Gave me instructions on how to unmute using Chrome, but I wasn't using a Chrome browser. Didn't have a clue how to do it. Just managed to do it a second ago.
Absolutely. Well, just as we are unwrapping, player well known, you're here as well. But
Joining
we're going. Listen. I'm only doing this because I've got to be up bright and early, and I've got to do bits and pieces now. I'm totally up for doing one of these, doing either one of the old shows and going all the way through it, or doing one of these live all the way through it at some point. So I just put that out there. Dave, Gatford, Pete, player well known, Stewpot James, the Smiths, Visionary Soup. Thank you very much indeed. I don't know, are any of you lot about to go and do a stream that we should go and raid, or are you off to bed?
Oh, God,
no.
God,
no bed.
I think I'm going to ring Bezic about Frank.
Frank, all right. Well, I look forward to hearing that.
Do.
I'm going to do it.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. Stay safe. There won't be a show tomorrow morning. There might be a live stream. We'll see how things go. Thank you, everyone in the Discord. Goodbye. I'm out of there. And thank you, everyone, for watching. We're done. Tutty bye.